received an emergency transmission from Hadawi, a Havoc nuclear engineer. Patching through.
This is AZ-3 facility. Reactor 2 has been sabotaged. Havoc internal forces can't handle this threat anymore. You're all I've got left.
Running blind on intel for the AO. This region is at high risk of a nuclear incident. Keep the following in mind. Shoot, loot, then pack the scoop.
The signal is clear. Take action. It's okay here. Not too cold.
Experiment 66 is projected to conclude in T-minus 3 hours. All units submit safety risk assessments on schedule.
I've got a reading.
No hazmat suits? Raise them!
Let's make it quick.
Enjoy the bomb!
So eager to die. Excellent.
I don't know what's happening, but reactor output is still climbing. And security thinks I'm behind this. They're coming for me. GTI, move it, now!
Key verified. Access granted.
Hostile signal detected. Lethal action authorized.
Damn it! Someone take control of this piece of junk!
Entering manual mode. Executing command.
Those bastards in fusion research won't authorize shutdown because of their experiment timeline. I know better than anyone how important this research is. Hold this position. Once I finish calibration, use that console to insert the control rods immediately. Data set. Follow me. I know somewhere the signal can get through.
Steam explosion at Reactor 2. Incident level confirmed. INTS scale 5. Estimated contamination radius.
Careful! Don't fall! We're outside the signal blackout zone. Upload the data package to Skynet immediately. Encryption keys in the archive. Just send it!
Critical alert. Reactor power output has critically exceeded safety thresholds. Core meltdown imminent. All personnel evacuate immediately. Priority alert. Hydrogen explosion at Reactor 2. Incident level confirmed. INTS scale 7. Major accident. All personnel evacuate beyond contamination zone immediately. Estimated spread radius 3.7 kilometers. Correction, 9.2 kilometers. Correction, 24.9 kilometers. Correction, 45.3 kilometers. Correction, 79.8 kilometers.
My hands are sweating. All right. Hi, Operator. I'm Gabriel Mercier, codename N2. Since we'll be fighting side by side, allow me to properly introduce myself. As the codename suggests, my combat style leans towards cryogenic suppression. My frost launcher paired with a cryo flask can quickly force enemies into a frost state, ensuring they pose no threat to us. If enemy positions are unknown, the homing stun grenade can precisely mark them as well. Right now, I'm in the middle of a critical operation. one where failure is not an option. I hope this mission can make up for some of my past mistakes, even if just a little. Mission target zone, AZ-3, Asara's only source of nuclear power. The plant's power output is spiking abnormally. This time, I won't let it happen again. An emergency shutdown is our only chance, but the risk is extreme. We not only have to breach Havoc's heavy defenses, we have to face lethal radiation head-on. Some containers within AZ-3 have already been contaminated by radiation. You can follow distinctive sounds to locate them, but keep a close eye on your own radiation levels. Radiation is divided into 4 levels, each causing different effects. Accumulated radiation can be cleared by leaving the contaminated zone and using decon chambers or mobile decon units. During the incident, some personnel lost their access keys. We can use these keys to infiltrate the classified zones and gather intel and supplies.
Key verified. Access granted. AZ-3 key detected.
That's not all. Severe leaks have occurred across multiple sections of the plant. You can choose to endure radiation exposure and enter these zones for high-value supplies and rare data, or stay clear. The choice is yours. Havoc has deployed a large number of purification soldiers at AZ-3. Once your position is exposed, heavy purifiers will apply debuffs like corrosion and slow movement, but attacking the weak spot on their back can neutralize them quickly. An even tougher threat comes from the relink agents. H-1000 personally leads H-47, H-800, and other agents to guard the facility, all of them connected through Skynet. They're extremely persistent. Stay on maximum alert. One final thing. If we do manage to shut down all the nuclear facilities, something unexpected might happen.
Disabling attention. All AZ-3 terminals disabled.
Of course, the nuclear plant has new collectibles too. Over in warfare, things are heating up. The flames of war have reached the weathered stone walls of the Colosseum. This 1,000-year-old city is sliding toward ruination. We've got new weapons. The RM-277 assault rifle excels at sustained suppressive fire, most effective from medium to long range. The SVCH marksman rifle is capable of taking down enemies in one shot at long range. There are also some bonus events coming up. Play Ole 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 to earn points and exchange them for sports-themed rewards and exclusive avatars. The Meltdown Season Pass includes various tactical supplies, including a new outfit for Tempest. The new season's Mandelbricks can yield the AKM assault rifle. Astromancy skin. Not bad. Opening Turbricks gives you a chance at the Law of Time series collectible charms. Good luck. A new melee weapon, Elegant, the exclusive weapon of the Abyss Shark Reese. Pretty cool. Oh, and don't forget, the Rainbow Six Siege crossover is launching soon too. 3 new operator skins. Black Ice weapon skins and special collectibles. Now that's something. Covers the main updates for the Meltdown season. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up.
Hi everyone, I'm William, the art director of Delta Force. As many of you may already seen, Delta Force is launching a collaboration with Rainbow Six Siege in our next season. Since launch, we've seen a lot of passion and discussion from our community around the tactical shooter gameplay. And whenever players talk about the genre, Rainbow Six Siege is one of the names that come up most often. So, we reach out to Ubisoft.
Bonjour, je suis Émilie Besson, directrice de la réalisation sur Rainbow Six Siege. Oui, Siege a toujours été défini par son gameplay tactique. Le travail en équipe et aussi la variété des opérateurs que les joueurs ont appris à connaître et reconnaître au fil des années. Ces collaborations nous donnent l'occasion en fait d'amener les éléments emblématiques de Siege dans un nouvel univers tout en restant fidèles à ce qui les rend uniques.
In this collaboration, we focus on two things: operators and the Rainbow Six Siege's iconic visual legacy. We selected 3 operators pairings who share the same combat philosophy.
I'll be there you need me.
말보다는 행동이지.
Call if you need a hand.
For classic Siege elements, we choose to honor Black Ice, the Drone, and the Alpha Pack.
Ce qui était essentiel pour nous de préserver dans la collaboration, c'était l'identité, l'authenticité de nos personnages. C'est ce qui les rend uniques. On a travaillé main dans la main avec l'équipe de Delta Force pour s'assurer que l'authenticité de Siege, l'identité de Siege s'intègre naturellement dans leur jeu.
Both games share a realistic art direction, and finding distinct recognition within that shared aesthetic was actually the harder challenge. We started by preserving the core silhouette and a color framework of Siege operators. Doc and Motin's iconic deep navy uniforms, Vigil's signature custom-fitted gear, these stay true. At the same time, within the finer details, we evolve in Delta Force identity. They wear patches from both teams. Motin carries Cineva's badge. Doc has medical kits at his side. To faithfully recreate Black Ice, we focused our material work on internal ice fracture patterns to capture the distinctive texture and a cold, austere feel of original.
Oui, en effet, Black Ice résonne énormément avec notre communauté. C'est une cosmétique d'armes qui a énormément plu à nos joueurs. Et l'équipe de Delta Force a fait vraiment un travail incroyable pour la recréation dans leur jeu de cette cosmétique, avec un souci du détail extrêmement gratifiant.
We employed a dual-layer material system combined with subsurface scattering lighting model. Using camera vectors and a depth texture to offset UV calculations, we achieved effect of refractor patterns appearing to exist deep inside ice.
Et ce qu'on a apprécié et ce qui nous a impressionné, c'est le travail de recherche de Delta Force. À quel point ils ont été soucieux du détail pour conserver nos opérateurs dans leur jeu, qui s'intègrent vraiment comme naturellement dans leur univers.
Beyond the content itself, we want as many players as possible to access and experience this collaboration. By completing in-game missions during the season, you can unlock these rewards for free. One more thing, in the new operations map, we've prepared something special for you. You will find a surprise in the maps that are meant just for you. Once the crossover goes live, go find them. Once more, onto the bridge.
Dear friends, once more.
For some, success is measured by bodies in bags. Maybe that suits them. But to me, it's measured in hearts that keep beating. You with me?
Operations. It all comes down to 3 simple rules. Search, fight, extract. Search decides how much loot you walk away with. Fight. Not every encounter needs to end in a shootout. You just need to clear whatever's standing between you and your treasure. Extract. That's the magic moment that turns everything in your pack into yours to keep. 3 phases, all connected. Miss one and the whole run falls apart. Gear up before you head out. The better you're geared, the harder you hit and the more you can carry. But the more you lose if you go down. Go in cheap and dying won't sting as much, but you'll miss out on those juicy, high-value supply zones. Gear up and go big, or go light and gamble. Your call. Once you're in the match, forget everything else. Loot, loot, and loot some more. Documents on desks, parts and cabinets, bird nests by the roadside, trash cans tucked in corners early on. Grab everything you can get your hands on. Priority targets, safes, and air cargo containers. Snag one high-value item, and boom! You've already covered your entry cost. Now, the real question, keep pushing your luck or cash out while you're ahead. Your pack's stuffed with goodies and you're ready to extract. Then, gunfire erupts ahead. What now? Charge in, slip past unseen, or hang back and let them wear each other down before you swoop in. Just remember, die and you lose everything in your backpack except what's safely tucked away in your safe box. You choose to slip away quietly. Smart move! Your pockets are already bursting, but you can't shake that nagging sound of footsteps nearby. Even distant gunfire's enough to send your heart racing. You finally reach the extraction point. The countdown starts. Hold your nerve, don't blow it with 2 seconds left. Extracted. That weight you've been carrying the whole run finally lifts off your shoulders. Sweet relief. Then, there's the ultimate wild card. You stumble on a mandel brick. This thing's worth a small fortune, but the second you pick it up, every player on the map knows exactly where you are. Everyone's coming for you. You go from treasure hunter to hunted in the blink of an eye. Your only goal now? Stay alive long enough to decode it and cash in big. Whatever path you choose, it only counts if you make it out alive. That's operations for you. Every extraction is a story worth telling. Go make yours.
The enemy got the mandel bricks. Find and stop them. Mandel bricks decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament. They're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Very much. When you get barrel stuff, Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Damage, there it is.
That needs food for the family. Could be up for the other side, and you know what? We look away for a second, and there's Leviathan. He can on up. They get themselves a double. Rumor is good for one, but he's already lost 2 teammates.
The brilliancy of this. You were talking about the bow from Widows. He opens up the engagement onto FX with that. Socio, though, tries to crawl back up. Yui Mira controlling the high ground. Hits the knock onto Eclipse, and then look for an angle, but it's going to have to be timed proportionately. No. Look at that. Immediately dies back. He opens it up, and Leviathan is out.
Make a run for it. It's made matters even worse. Toot now goes down as well. 5 seconds. Are we ending the day? In game 4, it seems like that's going to be the case as Leviathan are standing strong on the ramp, finds the full wipe on the other side, and that is a double mandel brick in round 4 to seal the deal for the first day of week 3. Ooh, you might want to use some util here, mate, because you are about to get completely obliterated. Just a second from now, and there he goes. Blink and you miss it. Mumu, good for 2.
And that is the pressure that can happen. The snap onto W key forever. You get 1.6? No, I mean, we take that all day, especially for FaZe. And the jump comes in from Crab. He knocks down 1. And we are going massive here for W key forever. He gets the res onto C. Wow. That is so valuable for W key forever. Really kill streak. That's what happens when you absolutely loot up and coming in like an S tier demon boss. But Loco holds on. They're filtering through the windows. Can we take this? The rotate, the knock, the craziness. But it's
WK Forever, they have been living up to that name for the vast majority of this tournament. Here they are as well. Draco does find the first one though. Crap good for 1 in return, but he's down to low HP. Oh, and he gets the second right before he's able to go back to safety. What an insane swing.
2 members, now the odds are in their favor. 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little solo. Hang on a second, NL. Look at that. It's an absolute sweat. This
Delta Force. One game, 2 regions, 1 shot at glory. This is the complete guide to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Everything you need to know, from the very first match to the last squad standing. The path is the same in both regions. It starts with the open qualifiers, open to any team that wants to compete. The best push through to the group stage, where the top 2 advance directly to the finals, bottom 2 eliminated, and the rest battle through the survivor stage to earn their spot. From the open qualifiers, 12 teams have fought their way into the season, and only 1 will lift the trophy. The group stage runs for 4 weeks, with matches every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The 12 teams are split into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. 3 teams per group. Each broadcast day, 2 groups go head-to-head in a cross-group match. Every match is a 7-round format. 6 teams competing in the same lobby simultaneously, across up to 7 rounds on maps like Zero Dam, Brakkesh, Tide Prison, and Space City. Teams earn squad points by scoring eliminations and accumulating in-game total assets. And on brick rounds, they compete to collect and decode Mandel bricks, artifacts that decide the round winner. Decode 2 Mandel bricks in a match and the victory is locked in, no matter what round you're on. After 12 match days, the group stage standings are final. Places 1 to 2 go straight to the finals. Places 3 to 8 enter Survivor Stage Day 1. Places 9 to 10 drop into Survivor Stage Day 2. Places 11 to 12 are eliminated. The Survivor Stage is where the bracket narrows fast. Day 1 brings those 6 teams together for one 7-round match. The top 2 advance directly to the finals. Places 3 to 6 get 1 more shot. Day 2 mixes the 4 survivors from Day 1 with the 2 teams ranked 9th and 10th from the group stage. Again, 6 teams, 1 7-round match. Top 2 go to the finals. Everyone else is out. 6 teams, 1 day, 1 lobby, 1 match. This is the finals, the ultimate showdown of the season. 2 teams earned it through the group stage. 2 more survived Day 1. The last 2 came through Day 2. Every team deserves to be there. The top 3 finishers earn an invitation to Season 2. Welcome to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Loot, shoot, extract.
Welcome into the Delta Force Rise Series. It is week 4. This is the final week of the group stages. I am so excited to be back here with the Delta Force Rise Series. I've got DK with me yet again, my friend. It is great to be back together.
Yeah, I think it is going to be an absolute amazing show that we are in here for today. Of course, it is week number 4. It is the final opportunity for these teams to secure those slots moving towards the grand final. So really looking forward to seeing what is going to be happening out on the field, as everybody's going to be looking to cook up quite a bit of a storm. And speaking about storms, Ryan, if you've not yet downloaded the game, look at the link down below. Head on over, go get the game on all the platforms. Of course, you can also check out the Delta Force website. We've got an amazing eSport section as well. Go check out the tabs. You can see information on Americas as well as the EMEA region in there as well.
That's exactly right. Well, folks, there's a lot going on. Take a look back. As we look at how all of the standings went down in the group stages, the biggest thing, DK, was what happened last week, my friend. Evil Geniuses go crazy to wrap up last week. They get a win in the last day of week 2. And Nightmare as well. LEVIATAN picked up a double brick. It was extremely fast. And I think the biggest story was that Spacestation Gaming is no longer perfect.
Yes, I mean, that is the thing that I did see happening in there. And if that is the crack starting to form, or maybe it's just the other teams looking to tighten things up. But talking about how crazy it was, right? I mean, on Saturday last week, we had the Mandel brick change hands 13 times in one round.
Insane.
And then on Sunday, it changed hands 12 times in one round. So that was insane. There was so much chaos and carnage out on the battlefield, and that just drives the point even further. I mean, Loco was just popping off, securing 51 total kills. That is absolutely insanity. He's leading by such a big margin ahead of Boy coming through from Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, Loco was going bananas on the map. And again, not all of these teams have now played the same amount of games. Evil Geniuses, for instance, only have one more rep left this weekend. But at the same time, this is still an unbelievable statistic for a guy like Loco. He's been a heavy hitter this entire Delta Force Rise series. So good to see him on top. Of course, you see Boy there, Crab there. Mendo from Team Liquid still inside the top 5 as well. And actually, Diogod from FaZe has joined the top 5 at 33, tied with Muo from Evil Geniuses. Killzall has fallen to 7th overall in the individual slaying category, but again, they've got 2 matches this weekend. Should see him climb back up in the top 5 today, most likely, and then moving into the later rounds when they play again later this weekend, DK. So a lot to talk about, of course, with our top slayers, but we've got a lot of stats that a lot of these players have been putting up, and in particular, you start looking at some of the top damage. Killzall's right up there. And again, he's still a match behind some of these other players. He's putting up crazy damage numbers, but Loco is first overall as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how these numbers are going to look to change on up as the teams are going to continue to play. And of course, looking at Mendo, right? Mendo all the way from Team Liquid. The next time that we're going to be seeing them is on the very last day. Match day 12, right? That is when they get to step out onto the battlefield. So will he be able to hold on to his current second place? Not quite sure. Especially with Killzall getting ready to rep it out on the field here. I'm pretty sure that we are going to be seeing these numbers climb up quite a bit. But yeah, that is going to be applying quite a bit of pressure onto Loco if we step into tomorrow's games when the Evil Geniuses are back at it yet again. So, but they've got quite a good pacing here as well, right? We can see Loco's there. We've got Articuno sat in 4th place. And then, of course, Muamua coming through in that 6th place. So the Evil Geniuses, they really have a strong presence when it comes to the damage.
Yeah, and then assets gain. Killzall still leading the charge by a massive margin. This is mainly on the back of the fact that, frankly, this team has been nearly flawless up until last week, and they have found their way to the end and able to extract at the end of a very heavy-hitting game. So Killzall way above the rest, but yet again, it's Evil Geniuses at the top. This is going to be a trend. Evil Geniuses and Spacestation Gaming, the top 2 teams right now in the Americas region. And again, it's great to be back with Americas to see these teams go head-to-head yet again a little bit later down the line. But you still see Team Liquid there. Both have 2 inside the top 5, as they have also been slaying out and getting a lot of kills, which adds to this overall assets gain category.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely helps them out quite a bit, especially in establishing that kind of liquidity that they want, right? Managing and helping make sure that they have the assets to kind of back up those additional points, because as we know, the value that you get to extract from the round contributes to the amount of squad points you get come end of day. So there's a lot of different avenues that these teams and players are exploring to help ensure that they get the needed points to ensure that they also get to where they want to be when it comes to looking towards the finals.
Yeah, 100%. So all of these individually add up to some fantastic scorelines. And here's a look at the overall leaderboard of the Americas region. And again, Evil Geniuses, they're a match ahead of Spacestation Gaming right now, and therefore are in the lead. This is the first time we've not seen Spacestation Gaming at the top of the leaderboard, regardless of the fact that they've played less matches. But today, there's a chance that Spacestation Gaming could turn things around, as they are having a chance to potentially put up a couple more points. But you can see they were perfect through 3 matches. Their 4th match only picked up 2 points. It is still anybody's game trying to get that top 2 position and go straight to the finals. Team Liquid 25, 24 for WKF after a pretty solid last weekend. And then Leviathan, with their recent win, jump all the way up to 23 points, still a top 5 team. But of course, DK, as per the usual, we got to talk about those 2 teams down at the bottom of the leaderboard. Those are teams that may not make it to next week. This is their last chance this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, BTH, they definitely going to have quite a bit of a spotlight being shone on them. They're currently sitting with only 2 points to their name. But I mean, even if you look back at the performances that they brought in last weekend, rather, because next week is going to be finals, but last weekend, they really started to up the ante, right? I mean, unfortunately for them, that wasn't enough to secure them sufficient points. But I want to see that same kind of evolution, that same kind of push come through, especially from Team Liquids and, of course, BTH, right? This is literally the final opportunity that they have to try and make the necessary changes. And I mean, especially with Liquids being on the board today, we could maybe see a few moves coming through. But if you look at the point difference, right, 10th place is 4 total match points, but then we jump up to FX, who are sitting on 15, so that's an 11-point gap.
Yeah,
and even for MW are going to have a pretty tough time trying to play a serious game of catch up here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think the point disparity is huge. You really need to rely on them to get that win and get those mana bricks. But speaking of those mana bricks, let's talk about it, folks. You all know the rules at this point, but to recap, 1.5 million Technic Alloy per player as they load into Yes Season Echo, one patch behind. If they die in our private lobbies here, the competitive settings, they do lose their gear, which is a very important factor, especially if they die with a lot of gear on them, which happens often. But of course, we're looking for mana bricks. The team that gets the first 2 mana bricks will win the match, regardless of what map we're on. The earliest they could do it, like Leviathan did day 1 last weekend, is in rounds 2 and 4. If you can get back-to-back bricks in 2 and 4, boom, we're done in 4, and that is all she wrote for today. We could go all the way to game 7, which we have also seen many a time. And of course, those 2 eco rounds, which is round 1 and round 3, no mana bricks, but some nice airdrops with some fantastic loot. The final rule here that is really important is, of course, our operator rule. Each operator can only be used a total of twice throughout the course of the entirety of today, except when we get to round 7. If we get there, everything resets. So if you run double Nox, for instance, on Tide Prison, like many of our teams do, you cannot run Nox any other time on the map unless we get to 7. So the other important factors to remember is that, yes, we've got those key cards that you can get through every single door you need to get through, but also a 3x3 safe box where you can put most of your loot in there to keep it safe if you do go down. The biggest and most important thing aside from mana bricks is getting some points. What's a way to do that? Kills and supply, aka get money. Okay, 800k per kill is a great way to get that cash up and therefore earn some extra points. Kills are so valuable in the current rule set, and therefore a lot of these teams do like to play aggressive even on eco rounds, because the best way to get eco is to go get kills. That's a full team wipe of 3 players, 2.4 million, a chance to really up your stash value and therefore your supply points, TK. So some really important stuff here, but talk to me about the Mandel brick.
Well, Mandel Brick, we've seen it being fought over time and time again. And the important thing is there's going to be a little bit of a timer before it starts to become available for teams to rush out and pick it up. They have 5 minutes to put it into one of those decoding stations. If not, it goes right back to where it was. And of course, once that happens, there is going to be that 4-minute timer that starts, and every time the Mandel Brick changes hands, we are going to be taking a little bit of time off of that decode, right? So it's going to be reduced by 30 seconds, and every time it resets. The lowest it can go is 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that causes quite a few problems for the squads out on these particular maps. So we're really excited to see what is going to be happening with that. But also, if a team is busy decoding and they get eliminated, the countdown will stop right where it is, and it will just wait to see if anybody else is going to venture in and try and lay their hands on that. So there are multiple opportunities in different ways for teams to contest that Mandel Brick decode. And as we know, the Mandel Brick is worth quite a bit. As you pointed out earlier, right? As soon as a team gets the Mandel Brick decoded twice, they win, irrespective of where we are in the day. So there's a lot of pressure on that. And of course, as we know, these teams are chasing points. The best place to get points, first place, right? That's going to be the golden ticket, especially if you have 2 of those Mandel Bricks with you. That will bring you up to a total of 10 points coming your way. Unfortunately, if you land in 6th position, you are going back with nothing but bubbles.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great breakdown, and it's a really important note because this really emphasizes what happened to Spacestation. They were perfect, aka they got first, got 2 mana bricks a couple times in a row. It was 3. Perfect, 30 points. And then they only got 2, which means they got 4th place in their last match and therefore only pick up the 2 points without a mana brick. So today will be very important for some of these teams as they continue to battle on our leaderboard and try to make it to the next round. Now, mana bricks are the most important thing. However, everybody else is ranked by squad points. This is how you delineate between all the other teams without a mana brick or 2 teams with the same amount of mana bricks. Squad points equals kill points and supply points combined. Every kill equals 1 point. Very easy to remember. But the supply point's a little bit more complicated. Every 2 million in your total stash value equals 1 point, and that's all rounded. So what that means is you have 1.9 million, for instance. That's not a point. You need 2, and you need to get all the way up to 4 million to get your second. But the finals is next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday is the championship. And on Sunday, this is the amount of cash on the line. Holy cow, $60,000 if you can win championship Sunday next weekend, and an individual MVP, which is $3,000 to an individual player. Certainly something to play for. Second place is still 30K, 15K for third, and so on and so forth. Just getting to the group stage, you're making a little bit of something, but getting to the finals, you're making a whole lot more. Here's our groups, and of course, we're going to be paying attention to Group A today, in particular, DK, because we haven't seen them in a little while. Spacestation Gaming, Nightmare, Liquids, they're all back and playing against Group C for our first match of the weekend. That's today, July 31st, and of course, we'll be live tomorrow and the next day, same place, same time, ladies and gentlemen, and then the finals next weekend. I am so excited about this weekend to wrap things up, but of course, next weekend's going to be insane.
I think it's probably going to be the craziest weekend that we've had so far. And I mean, that says a lot. Looking at the lineup that we have coming through from the side here of Liquids, one of those teams, of course, as we know, is sitting in a little bit of a troubling position. But with the amount of game hours that Meg has brought in, and of course that compound bow, I'm pretty sure that there's not much that Meg can't do, but he's going to have to rub off on the rest of the team if they want to get those points and make sure that they can get closer into qualification spots.
Yeah, it's a really good shout. And of course, we're paying attention to the teams right here on your screen. Spacestation Gaming, the biggest talking point because of how well they've been playing. But in the recent match, things did not go their way. Can they turn things around in this one and take back the first place position? Frankly, they just need to do okay today to ensure a spot still in the top 2. That's your metric for success. You skip Friday and Saturday next week. If you can be top 2, you go straight to Championship Sunday. Nightmare, a team also worth watching from this group. Who's the team that were able to take down Spacestation Gaming in their match? It was Nightmare. Nightmare ended up winning, and we had a great interview with Farmer Lucas talking about why they were so successful. A very logical and intelligent breakdown for what this team brings to the table. They knew it was going to play aggressive, and they met that aggressiveness with their own. End up winning, end up getting 2 bricks. Nightmare, a team to watch out for, and of course, that is all of Group A. Liquids, that team now the bottom of the leaderboard that desperately needs to step up. And at this point, DK, you shouted it out great. There's a huge margin between the bottom 2 and the bottom 3, and that team desperately needs a double brick and a win, frankly. But talk to me about Leviathan.
I mean, Leviathan, they've also been looking to crack a few cans open all over the place. And, you know, I really like the kind of pacing that they've been able to secure for themselves. But again, it is all going to boil down to what they bring to the table here. Of course, they are starting the day off all the way in that 5th place. They do have 23 points total on the board. And as we saw through the last weekend, right, they were really locking in on the aggression, trying to push as hard as they possibly can. MW also trying to keep up with that same kind of pacing. But unfortunately for MW, things didn't exactly go according to plan, right? Still finding themselves down in that 10th position. Yes, it does still open a pathway for them to go into survival stage, but it has to be quite a stressful position because you still have 2 teams only 1 and 2 points away from you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I think MW's in the same position. They desperately need those points. FX has been a mid-pack team throughout the course of this entire competition. They still find themselves there. I'll be really interested to see who will be joining us. They've kind of cycled through not only Marino, who's technically their substitute, but also all of these players. They've been rotating through, seeing who works best together and trying to stay in a position to still take some points and therefore not get relegated. They are in 9th overall at 15 points. They're the team kind of holding the line at the bottom of the leaderboard that's still well above those bottom 2. So watch out for FX today. They'd like to kind of pop off and make sure they are safe, especially given that we are running out of daylight here, folks. But of course, we also know that we're going to 0 dam like we always do. It's an eco round, and frankly, eco usually means fights. DK, we've had a mixed bag of different 0 dams. This one, I am hoping very aggressive because, frankly, it's a ton of fun to watch. But who knows? We could get really lucky on some of the loot we're pulling, too, and that's a great way to get some points. But talk to me. We're talking operators. Everything is open to kick things off in 0 dam. Let's talk some of our meta comps. Let's talk about what operators you expect to see on the map for 0 dam.
Well, I mean, of course, especially being in Season Echo, that does mean that Morse, of course, is available, but we are going to be seeing quite a bit of Raptor being utilized, especially on a map like this moving out. And I'm expecting to see a little bit of that D-Wolf play, a lot more of an aggressive approach to be taking here, right? Teams don't necessarily go for a more defensive position here, so you want to try and go for the operator play and pick that is going to be leaning a little bit more towards that aggressive stance. And speaking about which, of course, you can see D-Wolf up there. We see Raptor in there. And a nice addition being Uluru as well, right? Those rockets also being used as a little bit of recon. So Uluru, Raptor combo, definitely quite helpful in sussing out where exactly the opposition is finding themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Raptor is the main operator, if you will, of Zero Jam. The second is probably D-Wolf, and like you mentioned, it kind of rotates between a couple others. Raptor, the main one, because of how much intel you can get. Now, a couple other things we know about Zero Jam, and frankly, that we know about the teams on main, one of which is Meg, here on our screen. Megaliths, as we have called them many a times. Meg is one of the only players, if not the only player, that runs the compound bow in competitive. So watch out for Meg on the map and this Liquids team. They desperately need to step up. For them to do that, Meg's got to be hitting his shots.
Yep. And of course, we got the big man himself. None other than Killzol and the rest of SSG looking to get things going. I mean, Too Easy looking pretty calm heading into the action here today, and Skies couldn't be phased by anything at this particular point in time. Even Equal also just making sure, you know what, let's just catch a few breaths here, make sure we're ready to roll on through. Farmer Lucas looking amped and ready to go. And overall, I gotta say here, Coach, the players look pretty chill, pretty relaxed.
Yeah, I think they're very comfortable at this point, right? We're settling into the competition. This is the end of the Delta Force Rise Series group stages, right? We're kicking off week 4, and so there's an opportunity for these players to showcase how truly comfortable they are. Are they relaxed? Are they comfortable? Or are they feeling the pressure of where they are on the leaderboard? If you're a team like Spacestation Gaming, I don't think you feel a lot of pressure. Yes, you're in second, but you've got 2 matches this weekend to make sure you stay there. If you just get any points, you're going to be in a pretty strong position, and it'll be tough to knock you out of a top 2 spot. So I think they're feeling good. They're feeling very relaxed. And some of the teams in the middle who can't really change their standings, probably the same. Teams at the bottom, though, whoo, buddy, they've got a lot of pressure. The pressure makes diamonds, and diamonds your reward. And speaking of rewards, folks, chat, it is time for your first reward. You're always asking about it. We've got your spray. It's the same spray we've been talking about this entire time. Necromimi spray on main right now. Type in this code in-game or on the official website right now as fast as possible. Only 35 redemptions in total, so you better be quick with it. I think you all know the drill at this point. Hopefully you can win this time around. And if not, be prepared for the next time we do this. Hint, hint, we do it every single time at the same time. Let's get into Zero Jam, though. DK, take it away.
Yep, here we go. We are going to be starting off with the players from FX, also known as Zor, and Leviathan coming through with their T1 spawns. You can see them making that mad dash straight up into admin. The rest of the lobby, though, are going about their business, right? MW all the way over towards that visitor center. We do see Liquids now looking to get themselves situated up into Substation. But it's not a big set of urgency across the board here. Everybody's just taking it cool, taking it calm. Let's see what is going to be happening here. We've had quite a few different disruptions. We did see Killzol, of course, after looting an airdrop back in week number 2, going absolutely crazy up towards that administrative area. So I don't know if that is going to be on the cards here today, but of course, anything can happen. Nightmare, though, taking a slightly more reserved approach here. We do see Marino, though, getting his hands on the first red, and it's going to be a lovely gold bar going straight over to the side there of them. And already the value is starting to climb. As you can see, the team's trying to farm for everything they can. And I mean, we said it already, right? This is the eco round. The teams are going to be looking to find as much assets and profits in this round as they can. A big added bonus is going to be if they get kills, and that's probably what a few of these squads are going to be looking to accomplish here. And with the loadout, it is fair across the board, right? We see the blue rounds being equipped in the weapons. We see a plethora of reds just rolling out of everywhere, and of course that purple armor is going to help the teams feel a little bit more secure.
No, 100%. I think the reds being pulled here is very nice for MW. Again, when you're a team that's able to get a priority spawn, in theory, you're going to be able to find solid loot. But we find reds all over the place on the map like this. So just because you didn't get admin doesn't mean you can make some nice pulls. You can see visitor center pulls or otherwise. So good job there from MW, taking advantage of what they could find as they pass it around and make sure that they spread out their loot accordingly. Who knows, could see MW swing this way after finding some nice loot very early in this match. Whereas in the meantime, we swing to our T1 spawners, which is going to be FX and Leviathan, potentially getting into an engagement fairly soon as they certainly hear each other nearby. As we talked about with the operators, you all can see the same thing we can. Raptors across the board, one on every team. Great way to get intel. You're going to be playing off the cooldown of your drone up in the sky. So you can get an intel of, hey, are we going to be held in this rotation, or can we actually get to the new POI, rotate over from cement plant to barracks? Is there somebody still there? Are they an admin? You all get the idea. Raptor, very valuable. Everybody else kind of rotating through just what their comfort picks are, and frankly, the operators they don't want to be using in future rounds. So we'll see what they're able to do as Space Station Gaming tries to decide what's our next move.
I think this is also a good round to use your Nox on as well, right? It really helps with a little bit more of that aggressive stance and aggressive approach these teams could look to take to get that valuable loot from the other teams that have already gotten it for them. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting loadout coming through, especially with that D-Wolf and Nox loadout, especially looking at the side there of Nightmare. MW, though, they are starting to make their rounds as they head down into minus sub, looking just to push through the Ashara village there to see maybe is there something available. But also I think they've moved in anticipating our very first airdrop that is going to be landing right here. So that's what they've got their eyes on, right? That as we've seen multiple times before, you can get one of two weapons coming through from this very first airdrop. Either going to be the AWM or that M82. Either which way, the main objective in my opinion is try to extract. Get it out with you.
Yeah, it's always the most fun conversation is who's able to utilize this high caliber weapon. Because, yeah, you could use it for kills. I think that's something we always say, that you could, hey, might as well. Every shot's 100K. You just better make it worth it, right? If you can get a kill, that's a nice trade. 100K for 800K, but really would like to use those in mana brick rounds. We can see Nightmare starting to make a rotation. Coming up in and around shipping containers. Could potentially play for admin here, but traditionally what teams will do is they'll play up at shipping containers, potentially get some peaks over at admin, but usually they're playing wall breaker. You'll go through the wall breaker mission, you'll get those lucky wooden sculptures that let you get your golds faster, and then you basically just play for elevator extract. And so you kind of let the teams come to you, gives you a power position on extract. We'll see what Nightmare decides to do.
I mean, we could actually see that play out, right? Because Nightmare, as you said, they are setting up right here, and we do see the players from Fluxo. They are right over at Wallbreaker, so they could decide to pull the lever and get the ball rolling, but it doesn't seem like that is the objective that they have in mind for the time being. Instead, they are going to be rotating further down south, straight over towards Liquids, and that is Meg that will be welcoming them in with open compound pose. I still can't believe that Meg has the boldness to do that every single time around. And of course, we were talking about the AWM. Nice. There it is, a beautiful looting session coming through from MW. But now the pressure is on them, right? Can they actually get an extraction with that AWM and the ammunition to accompany it?
This is a great play from MW. When you get the visitor center pull, you can see Leviathan does take a bit of damage. When you get the visitor center's pull, though, one, they got lucky with some nice reds, but two, that is one of the small advantages on what I would call a bad spawn on Zero Dam, is that it is close to one of the airdrop locations. So MW doing a great job of maximizing this quote-unquote bad spawn on the very first map of the day, and MW actually finds themselves at the top of the leaderboard currently. In hand, some nice reds. Maybe they just do a mission and get the heck out of Dodge on the paid extract on the south side. I wouldn't hate that at all. Given the state of the Americas region, MW desperately needs points. This could give them a small advantage going into the next round.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're going to have to play super strategic to make sure that they can just milk every single available point to them into today's games. So I really look forward to see what they are going to be looking to do here. Meanwhile, Leviathan just clearing out the admin area. Wow, difficult with the English words here today as they are making their way through. But, I mean, Spacestation and Nightmare, they don't seem to be really all too phased with what is happening in admin itself, right? There's not been many shots. We still have each and every single player up. But this is very similar to what we had happen last weekend, right? We did see the teams make it all the way to where there was 4 minutes left on the clock before they actually got the party underway. So, based on what we've just seen, that might not be the case this time around.
No, I totally agree. Space Station Gaming taking looks, but nothing really striking home yet. Pretty important to pay attention to the map, see where everybody's at. In particular, it does look like MW still not on our screens, has elected to stay on the south side. There's a quick look. This is the team I was going to call out. Liquids making slow moves from the southwestern side of the map, south side of Cement Plant, all the way up towards Barracks. This is actually a nice example of exactly what I called out a second ago. The rotation from cement plant to barracks. Can you clear it? Make sure nobody's there. Check it. Nobody's there. Now we make the move. That's really funny. But we do take a peek through some of these drones as the players are trying to gather some intel. And we see the other team that we haven't seen yet, which is the FX. They're actually underground. Really nowhere near any of these engagements. So let's take a look back at admin and see what Leviathan found out. They certainly spotted out our members Nightmare that have rotated up and around towards elevator extract. So if I'm Leviathan, DK, I don't think I'm pulling that lever.
And MW is definitely not going to be pulling the lever because they're going to be going for that bait extract down on the far southern side, as they've already started that one off, looking to get the ball rolling. And I think this is a very good call from them. Of course, I think realistically they are most likely going to send only that one potential. Oh, actually, did they just trigger that extraction so that nobody else can get their hands on it?
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's actually it's a good call out. Yeah, it's a good call out that they started it. Basically what it does is it takes it away from other people and they can go back to it. They can go back and trigger it. Again, essentially if you sit on it, it just starts a 10-second timer. So a great play from them. This is pretty classic on denial while also giving yourself an out. But MW does want to stay and play and hopefully get some fights. So speaking of fights, let's swing back over to SSG. Space Station still looking at admin, seeing if they can get an engagement that is preferable for them. You can see that second airdrop just landed and actually landed up by admin as well. It's not usually something that people fight over, but if they're in the area, might as well pick it up.
Loot. Right, it might help just take you that extra little bit further to get the profits you need to secure a point, because 2 million is 2 million, whichever way you get it. Speaking about which, though, I'm curious to see what SSG and Leviathan are going to look to do here. I like where Socio is currently positioned. It does provide him a little bit of a vantage point onto that kind of alleyway leading up to the front door, especially with Eclipse there to provide a bit of backup as well. But in the meantime, looking across the board, though, we do see Meg and the rest of the team also just still keeping up that very cautious spacing, right? Nobody really looking to upset too much just yet.
Everybody playing extremely patient. Eco rounds, best way to get money is frankly kill each other. But at the same time, you do want to protect what loot you brought in, and frankly, you don't want to give away points early to any of these rosters. So I respect and understand patience, but as a viewer in my own right, I do like some action. Now, we'll see it in the last couple minutes, assuredly. Somebody's got to fight in the last couple minutes. But with the position that Nightmare's got, I don't think anybody's pulling that elevator extract, which really means the only way you're getting out of this map is through all of our conditional extracts. So you could go paid if you didn't know that MW had already triggered it. Or you're going to have to go backless. Finally, our first blood. It actually happens off main. Here's a look at it. Liquid's able to find an angle on Pildora. MW, just talked about him potentially extracting. They were peeking through the cement plant side and peeked for a hair too long. Nice punish there from Liquids, especially if they can get the cleanup. First blood, 800K straight to the bank.
This is an issue for NW, right? Because that is where their M is. And they are getting pushed by FX, pushing up in from that southern side as well. So speak about pressure, there's going to be bucket loads of that now descending down upon them. It does seem like they might be able to get themselves back into the full 3Ps just in the nick of time. As you can see, Marino just clearing the entrance here, finds the angle, and it is going to be game on because, of course, Liquids are going to look to send in. Leviathan is going to look to send it up. So I hope that Liquids are ready for the carnage that is about to descend down upon them.
Yeah, I mean, the big note here is that MW is getting pinched pretty aggressively. And you're right, there's a lot of rotations coming in because everybody's hearing the gunshots and everybody says, hey, that's the signal flare we're supposed to go to. We're trying to third party. That's how Delta Force works here with the Rise series, right? Well, yes and no, because here's the problem. The fight's been going on too long, so Space Station Gavy's coming into the backside. Now, two teams are getting pinched at the same time. Look at it on the mini-map. You can see MW now rotating out of cement plant. They said, hey, you guys want to be the middle of the sandwich, FX? Sounds good to me. We're going way outside. And if I'm MW, I am running as fast as I humanly can to that paid extract. In the meantime, FX is sticking cement plant while Leviathan is trying to get a piece of the action from the north side. So like you mentioned, Liquid's actually in a bit of trouble. Even though they were the ones causing it, they find themselves on their heels, figuring out which side do we actually push. We have to take the closest fight, which is going to be Leviathan.
Yeah, Leviathan definitely in a good position here to applying quite a bit of pressure onto Liquids now. As you can see, Megs and the rest of the squad just making sure that they are ready for this fight. But at the same time, SSG, they are gatekeeping that rotation from MW. It is going to be really tough for them to get back over onto that paid extract securely. So there is going to be quite a bit of a troubling play ahead of them. Kills are already in position, prepped and primed, right? He is just waiting to lock it down. But at the same time, again, FX starting to move up. So it seems like the dynamic is not just shifting, right? We do see a little bit of a split up in that sandwich.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a refocus all at the same time.
Yeah, really what's happened is the two groups of three have totally separated. There's a big group down here at the bottom in the south side of the map underneath Cement Plant as, again, Spacestation Gaming is doing a good job of keeping themselves the furthest team south. They're not going to let a team get behind them. They read MW's rotation, and they also read FX's intentional retreat through Cement to try to get out the other side. Spacestation Gaming has gone back to the bridge, back to a choke point, and still hold the south side of the map. While on the north side, the three teams that were up there, which was Liquids and Nightmare and Leviathan, have all scattered as well. So all this fighting, all this chaos, all these sandwiches. Look at the map right now. Leviathan is sprinting down to the south side of the map. They either want conditional or they want some kills. Either way, they're going to get there and maybe be disappointed with the way SSG is holding this line.
Ooh. I mean, this is looking pretty great for MW though, right? Especially with Leviathan pushing over on towards SSG. It's going to help alleviate a lot of that pressure and actually open up that rotational pathway for them.
Nice trade.
But for the time being, though, Leviathan, rather, are going to be looking to make the most out of the situation. And FX, though, right behind them. So the third party could get third-partied by yet another team just waiting in the wing.
Yeah, this is a big fight between Leviathan and Spacestation Gaming. These are two teams that have a bit of a grudge match right now. They're both very talented, but Socio Legend with a fantastic flank, able to pick up the backside. And they do get paid. They do get the wipe. Down goes Easy, Skies, and Kills All. Spacestation Gaming first out at the hands of Leviathan. What a great play from Socio to play the backside flank after they had knocked one already. Huge, but the job's not done. It's just getting started, and there's only 3.5 minutes on the clock. This is ridiculous. FX gonna swing in. Leviathan getting the pinch, and like you mentioned, MW in a great spot. But let's see what FX does and see how aggressive they get.
Yeah, the pressure just keeps on stacking up here. As you can see, FX trying to push on forward. Leviathan already quite battered and brewed, but they are not going to be giving up just yet as they continue to push. Marino and the rest of FX here trying to quickly just reposition themselves, get the angles, but those health bars for Leviathan continues to drop on down. And this is exactly the kind of pacing that MW needs to get a very successful extraction, especially if they want to get that AWM out of this round. So the stakes are exceptionally high right now. And to add to it, we do see the side of Nightmare pushing up towards them, looking to come up and keep that momentum going.
Yeah, this is a great play from Nightmare. Again, once the shooting starts, everybody starts following, and here's Leviathan able to answer back as well. FX down to a solo. Unfortunately, they were causing a bit of havoc, and now they're in the deep blender. Nightmare, oh, a great swing from DW. Down goes Loud. MW catch the wrong end of a Nightmare barrel that is very warm. It was a great snap across. Tomiozo lasts alive for FX, and frankly, it's just a matter of time. There's the triple swing. Can't get anything for it. FX, the second team to get full wiped. Nightmare, yes, a duo, and MW the same. But Leviathan and, frankly, Nightmare as well feel like they're in the most control. It does look like Pildora did find an angle on one member of Nightmare, but I think Leviathan's still in the best position by a mile.
Yeah, well, Liquids, they are sending out at least one player through the no bag or the conditional extraction up in towards that western side of the zone. Meanwhile, the rest of the lobby, literally the entire lobby, is right here on this crossing. Absolute carnage. As you can see here, Leviathan quickly just trying to gather
90 seconds
enough to make a good play, but this thing is all going to boil down. We have less than 90 seconds left on the clock, so if they want to get those elimination points, now is going to be the go time.
2v2, v1v1, and one goes down. Nightmare fully eliminated as well. They put up some decent kills, but that's all they got for it. And MW says, we got to at least make this AWM worth something, and they're able to get one. Meg goes down. Pildora putting on a bit of a show with the sniper. Says, let's see what we can do. 60 seconds on the clock. Liquids 1, Leviathan 2, MW. Just one still on the map that is on their feet. 2 down on the ground. They could potentially get rezzed, but there's really no time for that. Megalus able to get credited that Rapids kill as JDevice helps clean it up. But Megalus is down on yellow timer. It's going to be JDevice or nothing for Liquids. A 1v1v2. LEVIATAN, you could only expect them to get aggressive here. Playing bridge, they're not really in this engagement right now. It's a 1v1 between JDevice and Pildora, and they're just watching across the bridge. But there's only 30 seconds left. You might as well full send. At this point, nobody else is getting out. Go get the kill points.
Yep, that's the only thing pretty much on the table here, or on the menu even, if you would be so bold to say. So it is going to be Pildora just trying to keep a very tight angle. As you can see, the rest of LEVIATAN trying to move up, but with only 10 seconds left on the clock, there's only so much that you can do here. And it does seem that this is pretty much where things are going to be ending. Oh, LEVIATAN trying to risk it all, but JDevice, though, gets taken right on out.
LEVIATAN aggressive at the perfect moment, able to just barely snipe that kill away before JDevice was hiding out, just trying to prevent points. He said, it's not worth challenging this. Don't feel like I have the right angles to win it. I'm going to prone out and wait for the timer to hit 0. But the timer was at 1 second, and LEVIATAN are able to cut him down. I think LEVIATAN, the biggest winners in that engagement, but there were definitely some kill points kind of between most of our teams, and only a couple probably walking away with goose eggs on that one, DK. I'm a bit surprised. That was very slow to kick things off. And then as per the usual, in the last like 3 minutes, just all hell breaks loose.
I always see it like the teams are saying to each other, hey, you go. It's like, no, you go. It's like, no, you go. It's like, no, you go. And then eventually the one guy just said, you know what, I'll do it. And it was absolute chaos from there. But of course, only one team can be the best team at the end of the round. LEVIATAN coming through, holding their heads high. 8 kills going their way, and at least managing to get 1.3 million out as well. So a pretty decent overall performance. 1,300 damage. Doesn't look bad.
Doesn't look bad. I think it looks fantastic. 8 kills for LEVIATAN? 8? Ooh. I thought more teams got more than that, but no, LEVIATAN just killed nearly everybody. MW did find their way to 4. Did see that Pildora used up every shot in that so at least got some value from it. 4 kills from Pildora alone is great value for MW. They're going to be in 2nd place going into the first Mandelbrot round, but LEVIATAN find 8 kills. Reminder, folks, that's 800k per. That's 6.4 million in total assets that they picked up in kill points alone. So great job from them. Plus, of course, the 6 points that they picked up from those kills. Pildora, though, top individual player with that in hand, NW, made it worth it. I know they can't use it in the Mandelbrot round like we like, DK, but at the very least, he got some kills.
Yep, and I mean, it's important, right? That's exactly what they just need to keep doing here today. They just need to be super, super consistent, time in and time out, because that's the only way that they can stay in the match, right? Because they are defending themselves from everybody nipping at their heels, and especially looking at Pildora here being the top asset owner as well, it makes no surprise. The AWM does go a very long way. And MVP, right? Who would have thunk it? There we have it. 4 kills, 641 damage. And a decent chunk of change going with that. So, yeah, now it all turns to our 2nd round of the day to see how these teams are going to be looking to kind of step things up coming in from Zero Down.
Listen, DK, we're just kicking off this weekend, and I can already feel the pressure. The lights are brightest when the pressure is highest. That's my saying, okay? Now, we've got a brand new call out for you folks. If you didn't know, yes, we're wrapping Season 1, but Season 2 is right around the corner. Registration opens August 10th. You see all this crazy action? You see all the insane prize pools as a part of this season? You want to be a part of it? It's possible. We've got qualifiers. Registration opens for those qualifiers August 10th. You can see it right down below. Do not miss your chance to compete. If you want to learn more, of course, you can go take a look at all of the esports socials, regular socials, and our esports website. You can check that out on the official Delta Force website over in the esports tab, or of course, just scroll down at the bottom of the Twitch here to click those panels and get some extra info. We're going to take a very short break here in the booth. When we come back, it's going to be our first Mandelbrot round. You're not going to want to miss it.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and NT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweat! This... And Ellis got him, they're here, lines them up, even through the shot, you're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOB, they find 2 instant knocks. The Helm's gonna be hopping off that.
Find it. Stop them. Mandel Brick's decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first hit to bring up the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not going to do very much. Though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. There it is.
Welcome back to the Delta Force Rise series. It's America's baby, and it's great to be back. It's our final week of the group stages, though, and we just wrapped up in groups A and C, our first map. And DK, it was a bit slow to start, but a chaotic finish. And Leviathan are keeping up the momentum from their last match last week. They are up on top of this leaderboard almost assuredly. Take a look at that, 13 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty good for Leviathan, but I also like what MW did at the start of the day here. They just got to get that consistency going. Just keep the ball rolling. We're already with 6 points, second place. It's looking pretty good. It is going to be right in the points territory for them. But as we know, we still have quite a bit of a day ahead of us. We've concluded only the first round. Next up, as you said before, it is going to be Mandel Brick and Airdrop coming into round number 2 as we head over into Brakkesh to see what these teams are going to be bringing in and who's going to try and fight it out in front of the museum. But in the meantime, of course, what operators are they going to go for, right? Because now we do have Mandel Bricks coming in here. The teams could be tempted to go for the Tempest approach, but it's not advisable just yet, right? You got to hold those off till a little bit later when we get over into Space City.
Yeah, it looks like Liquids was the only team to actually double down on an operator. So let's take a quick look at what Americas has been cooking in the Brakkesh scene. It looks like Uluru, Raptor, and Gizmo is a strong 14 attempts there, and they are the top 3 most played. We will most oftentimes see that Raptor get doubled down here in Brakkesh just for the extra intel, but Uluru has been a big difference maker on this map. I think the main reason here, DK, is the zoning capabilities. If he and Gizmo's abilities, they're able to zone off a lot of these positions where the decoding stations are, and of course the Mandel Brick spawn at museum. Speaking of spawns for our players, talk me through this. T1 spawns are the big ticket item going into Brakkesh.
Yeah, as we can see, looking at the names on the list there, we are not seeing Fluxo and we are not seeing Leviathan on those T1s, right? It is open to the rest of the lobby, and the reason for that is you cannot get a back-to-back T1 spawn, right? We got to keep things interesting. We got to keep them fair. So the team's going to have to hope that they can make the most out of that situation. But especially making that mad dash over onto the Mandel Brick, of course the T1 spawn is going to help you so much.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, folks, we're going to reward you just for being here. I told you to get your typing fingers ready as fast as humanly possible. Get ready. A new code about to pop up on your screen for that SR3M Combat Ready skin. Go get it right now by typing in the code on your screen. Redeem in-game or on the official website as fast as humanly possible. Only 25 redemptions. You all know the drill. Get it while it's hot, and if you don't get it while it's hot, it ain't gonna be there. But it's time for Brakkesh, and therefore it's time to see who can get to the Mandel Brick first. Who could potentially start that code immediately at Museum. First, we click over to Leviathan, though, who got the Tower of Babel spawn. DK, as per the usual, does Leviathan play for brick, or do they play for loot in Tower of Babel?
Yep, that's a good question, and we'll find out very soon which way they are going to be looking to swing that ball. But for the time being, though, we are looking right into the museum. It is going to be Liquids and MW going at each other. Already Liquids coming in with that beautiful claw, picking up a decent chunk of change. The Reds now starting to roll on in. But this is going to be that pressure, the mad play for the Mandel Brick. And we are just 5 seconds away from Mandel Brick becoming active. And then we're going to be seeing send after send, trying to get their hands on it and get that decoding underway. Let's see who goes for it first.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a pretty big moment. Look at the tier 1 spawns. MW and Liquids both pick up those tier 1 spawns, and therefore MW actually going to be first to the brick and get it nearly uncontested. They just grab the brick and they start running. Liquids, yes, in the area, but not right on top of him. They're striking while the iron's hot, as per the usual. Sometimes fortune favors the bold. Let's see. Are they just going to stick Museum? I think so. Liquids too slow to the party. MW, they need the points. They want to stay out of the bottom two here, DK. Let's kick things off immediately at Museum.
Yeah, you can see Megs going for a little bit of a Saniva approach here, just trying to see if he can have a tactical way to get himself closer with that compound bow. Absolutely menacing look coming through here, but I'm pretty sure the lobby knows that that is exactly what could be heading their way. Speaking about heading their way, you can see the squad here from Nightmare also starting the approach, just working their way through that mantle brickation, but they know now exactly which way to go. And this is again, positioning, paying off as Eagle just gets absolutely smacked on down. It is, of course, Liquids just locking down the windows. They've got their eyes everywhere they need to be. And there's the first team trying to move up, looking to apply a little bit of that pressure. But we are yet to see the players here from Fluxo, SSG, and of course, Leviathan also looking to have a say in this mantle break. So talking about the stakes, they're pretty high. And NW, I hope they are ready for this because there is going to be a lot of that heat coming in their direction.
No, I like that breakdown a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, one thing we know about SSG, they're not going to rely on anybody else. We say that every week with them because that's what they say in the interview every time. Killzall makes it very clear they're playing for the mana brick. Brick is in the decoding station. They're going to be there. Look at where they are, moving into Museum right now. It's still Liquids and MW jockeying back and forth around this decoding station with MW in charge. But SSG are going to join the party quite early. Nightmare on the top side, like you mentioned, could potentially make the play as well, but maybe not quite as aggressive as the way SSG is ingressing at the bottom side of Museum. Quick look at FX. They're actually on the outside of Hotel. They could actually potentially shoot Nightmare in the back here if they find the right angle. Nightmare tries to make a move across Museum. FX could actually play spoiler if they really wanted to. Here's a look at that map feed that we're talking about. Look at where everybody's at. Leviathan is going to go for the brick here, folks. We're going to have a huge bang out in the middle of Museum. This is going to be a party, and I am excited to be a part of it. We'll see who can go for the brick first.
Yep, it's all going to be down to who is the bravest soul in the lobby for the time being. Good at play coming through here from the side of FX, as you see Tamiozo now starting to open up a bit of a play. But that, of course, does alert Nightmare to their positioning, so it does change up the rotational pathway ever so slightly as they're going to be a little bit more cautious. But we are looking at 90 seconds on that decode. This could be NW maybe landing themselves with a glorious opportunity. The only team currently that is going to be looking to contest that decode is SSG, as they are moving up very strategically. They look to have one objective in mind: get their hands on that mantle brick and don't lose sight of it. Meanwhile, Leviathan, though, they're having a whole bunch of different issues out here as the Allura rockets are just raining down on them.
60 seconds on the clock. A lot of util being burned there. Spacestation Gaming potentially could utilize a Luru here. Actually, they're just going to go for the backside steal. This is nice and free for them. This is kind of the classic spot. If you can hit this jump up, you can steal it over the top. MW could look, but Liquids is moving at the exact same time. Could be a nice steal here. Sky's holding the line, trying to put some buffering shots down lane. Meg with Saniva able to take and soak up some of those bullets, but it does give SSG enough time to get the steal. So SSG have reset, and we're back at 3.5 minutes. Plenty of time now for everybody to join this fight. A lot more chaos.
Yep, speaking about which, right on cue, as you can see, NW now trying to make up for a little bit of that lost positioning, and they are going to be trying to poke through every available angle to them here, trying to keep the defensive angles pretty tight, right? But Nightmare, we've seen them be quite relentless, so they might know exactly how to play their way through this. And of course, we saw exactly that same kind of thing happen to them last weekend, right? When a lot of pressure was applied. Now, MW looking pretty decent. Nothing to worry about just yet. But DW is going to be soaking up quite a bit of the damage here. Not something you're going to do too much of. Love the utility being played at. But again, pressure starting to build as time is going to be running out very, very slowly.
Yeah, still plenty of time on the clock, but plenty of chaos as well. You can see off screen, of course, FX very quickly. The lucky wooden sculptures, they've killed the boss. They got those. Congrats to them. That's going to get them some golds, but if they can get enough. But this is the most important part of the map, as always. Everybody fighting for the brick. And at the very least it's not a free brick, DK. I know this is going to be a ton of chaos, and there's going to be a ton of steals, and who knows what could happen. But this is way more entertaining than the free brick. So tip of the cap to all these players that know they desperately need the points. Like you mentioned, MW's in the worst position now by a mile. Fortune's favor the bold comment is one that always can be pulled back if, unfortunately, being bold comes with a ton of risk. That's exactly what's happened when everybody pinches you and you're dead center. The fact they even have one alive is a miracle. Who knows? Rapids could do something crazy. Who's going to be the first to go for the retake here, though? 90 seconds on the clock. It's been about in the possession of SSG for 2 full minutes now. Nightmare is here. Looking for some util to land over the top. It could give them a moment to peek here. DW peeks at the right time. Could have taken one member down of SSG, but it's going to be equal plays. Smokes are in, but he goes down, kills all. A full commit with the Lulu rocket. Takes him out, and SSG still in control as Liquid's able to take down most of this Nightmare squad.
I mean, I was about to say that Nightmare look like they know exactly how to work through this, but it does seem like everything is starting to crumble around them, especially with the addition of SSG. And of course, then the players coming through from the side of Liquids, right? Just making it so difficult to get a good, successful push. Megs, in the meantime, is going to push through the smoke, trying to lock down each and every angle, trying to apply that pressure towards the side there of Nightmare. And I mean, SSG, they might have this one in the back. This could be their first successful decode on the Mantle Break. Meg, though, going to try and play the upset. Good play with the mollies coming in, just keeping him at bay. But is it going to be enough to actually stop him from getting that steal?
I think Meg was trying to put up the shield to allow his teammate to get behind him and go for the steal. And I think that's what's happening. Liquid's gonna full commit here. There's only 10 seconds on the clock. They do get the commit. A great play. End up not being needed. Nobody moved fast enough. Nightmare lines them all up and knocks them all down. Liquids might have stolen it, but it only stalled out the game. What in the world? Unfortunately, Meg's shield was not up that time. Wow, timer is paused, and it is anybody's ball game.
Yeah, it is everybody's ball game, and indeed here. But last week, exactly at this point, is when we saw Nightmare step in, steal that Mantle Brick, and get their hands on a successful extraction. So, very curious to see exactly whether or not they are going to look to play the same approach this time around. But SSG, though, not going to be backing off of a fight, right? Trying to get a good read on where the surrounding players are situated as kills all the rest of the team starts with their push. Meanwhile, Nightmare, they've fallen back, gotten themselves out of that pressure position, looking to get themselves back on their feet. Meanwhile, things are still looking pretty sweaty when it comes to the Mantle Brick itself.
I'm sweating, and I'm not even in the game, man. Leviathan have restarted it, and they're able to throw down some incendiaries that are taking care of Killzall. Still waiting on the Allure rocket to come back into play for him. He'll be able to get some intel with that and hopefully get some damage on a player that's nearby. But timer's been reset to 3 minutes and now down to 2. Quick look at the replay here of DW. I mean, quite literally, they all just stand in a line and get obliterated. Unbelievable. Unfortunate timing. An unfortunate moment, and I think Meg maybe caught the wrong end of some utility as well to just clean things up for Liquids. But it's a big boon for Nightmare, regardless of the fact that Leviatan's in charge right now around the brick. Now, in the meantime, of course, as a reminder, there's other things to do on the map if you really want to. Instead of going for, you know, the Mantle Brick, you could go for some nearby loot. And Nightmare's elected to do that. They find a champagne bottle, which is nice. And they actually find their way to the top of the current leaderboard in this map. Albeit a lot more work to be done. So some extra loot. They might come join the party again, but 60 seconds on the clock. Who goes for it next? Widows is actually get a knock on FX.
Ooh, a lot of the molly play coming through, just proving how efficient that Uluru operator is with locking things down. But still, a lot of stakes up for grabs here. You can see FX trying frantically to get themselves back onto that full 3-piece. Nightmare now getting ready to join the party as Equal is just trying to find that entry point. Fortunately, there is a bit of an opportunity, but Sonic Paralysis is quite a bit of a stopping force. SSG also going to try their hand at that Mantle Break as they look to get the steal. There's only a few seconds left on the clock, but LEV, this could be their ticket. Not much sure if it's going to go their way. Oh, nice. SSG managing to get the steal, and Rapid with a beautiful hit, but down he goes.
Yeah, that's a great take and a great commit to the fight on MW. Rapids goes down, MW full wiped. SSG, yes, down to a duo, but it looks like Nightmare's just wiping the rest of the lobby. Leviathan down to a solo, and Widow's just pre-firing this window saying, please don't jump through it, and if you do, you better fall. And it looks like Nightmare's thought better of it as a duo. They have found a crazy amount of kills, but SSG have reset the brick. FX now F Ultima 3. They come in late and say, thank you very much. Let's get our hands back onto the brick. And they're actually in a position to be the team with a full player advantage. And DW's taking out Skies. Even SSG's down to a duo. It's only FX with 3. And down goes everybody from Spacestation Gaming. Nightmare is a duo, and they are obliterating this lobby. That's one way to get the brick. Just kill everybody else.
Yep, no competition, right? That is a very strong armed way to get your hands on a very successful decode. And I mean, I said this earlier, right? This is exactly the kind of pacing that Nightmare is familiar with, looking to get themselves into the swing of things here. And I like how this is going for them. But now what they got to do is still work a bit more. They still have Fluxo to deal with. Oh, literally taking Uemura down right there, evening out the field. And there's only 3 players standing between them and a potential decode. But first things first, though, they need to get their hands on that steal.
Yeah, 30 seconds on the clock. FX will inevitably end up with this one if Nightmare doesn't turn their eyes over to the brick. Can they get another one? Are you kidding me? Equal plays, you madman. They have 11 kills on the map. Unfortunately, that was not the player in control of the brick, so equal plays, and DW turn their attention to the main objective. FX down to a duo, and Nightmare going to try to commit, but they're a little bit too late, and they get stopped at the line. Equal plays knows it. It's too late. Can they get there in time? No. Nightmare eliminated, and with that, everybody gone besides FX. Sometimes it pays to be late. Holy moly. This duo has just picked up a brick. FX, congratulations, they're at the top of the leaderboard, but Nightmare, my goodness, what a map from them as well.
Absolute insanity, and I love how sweaty these players have been making it. I mean, Brakkesh always just filled with surprises all over the place, and teams delivering on that front. But now's the opportunity, of course, for FX to try and see just how much loot they can find and potentially go for that extractors. They just have enough time. They'll get to the position, get the extraction, and make it out successfully. So there's a good opportunity. We've seen how many kills did they have? Or they've only got 2. I'm confusing them here with the sign of equal plays that just went absolutely crazy. But even though, right, 2 kills in for Marino is gonna really bode well for them, right? Trying to stack up on those squad points.
Yeah, remember, FX is in not a great position on the leaderboard. They're not one of the 2 teams at the bottom, but they're only in 9th. So they were technically in a position where they could have lost this place. Even just getting this 1 brick and this 1 point could be the difference on them getting relegated and kicked out Season 1, not making it to the finals, or assuredly at least making it to the survival stages. So this is a big moment for FX for multiple reasons. Yes, a brick is nice. It's a point in our group stage leaderboard, regardless of the final placements. So great job from FX being there at the right time. I know I called them late, but it's more of the analogy than anything. They apparently showed up at the right time because they got the brick. And again, Nightmare got 11 kills, mainly on the back of DW and equal plays, who were just full sending. Here's a quick look at that moment, though. Equal plays, able to win this one. This is ice in the veins to be able to do that with the Allure Incendiary on the ground. And then after getting that kill, they said, dang it, that's not the team decoding. Let's swing over and try to steal this brick. But Marino, very smart. Nice play. That is a lot of confidence in the face of a lot of danger. Just put your body on the decoding station, slow things down, and say, you're going to have to get through me if you want to get to that brick. Great job from FX.
Yeah, I mean, talk about leveraging things in your favor. A really, really strong play. And I mean, also for FX, this is their 2nd Mantle Break in the Rise series. So, you know, big GG for them to come through and clutch it up. The last one we saw was all the way back on the first week, the last day, right? All the way on Sunday. And so for them now to come through on week number 4 and do it again looks absolutely amazing. Just absolutely loving this for them. I hope to see a few more potential breaks from the side of FX here today.
No, I totally agree, man. This is a big win for them. It's going to give them a lot of confidence to wrap up the day. They're going to put a crazy amount of loot as well in those safe boxes, and we actually have enough time. Look at this. There's enough time. Look at the extract timer. 90 seconds on the clock versus nearly a, minute 50 is where it was when it was at 90. So they're actually going to be able to get out here as long as they time everything correctly. And that's a ton of loot value. Their profits are well over 8 million now. So that's 4 points on top of the fact that they got the brick. So great job from FX.
Yeah. 20 seconds to spare, right? That's the kind of breathing room that you want to have, especially on a map as hot and sweaty as we've just seen there. And even 8.2 mil in the bag, not the worst place to be. It is going to be pretty cool for them. But let's listen in on what Team Focus, on what they have to say.
2-8 também. Tem ult, vamos por cima ali?
Bora. Bora? Daqui não pega? Eu acho que já
mais
pega.
perto, né?
Puta.
Pera.
GG.
Well, there we go. Not quite sure what they said, but they definitely said something. Right. Unfortunately, I am not too well versed and I can't really exactly translate. But hey, with a few seconds left on the clock, this is going to be exactly the kind of statement that FX want to make coming into the final week of group stage, right? Finish strong, get that mantle break, and walk away with a bucket load of profit as well.
Oh, totally agree, man. I think the comms were basically, let's just make sure we extract. Let's not miss anything here. Let's get all of our checklists done. So great job from FX. You can see the excitement on their face. Comms still flying, though. They still have a lot to prepare for going into the next couple rounds. But there it is. There's the laugh. There's the smile. A big move for FX, who's near the bottom of the leaderboard, to be able to grab that brick, take the first place position, and we're ready to rock and roll. So FX, congratulations. But again, Leviathan had a great chance there up in the top side of Mansion. They picked up several kills. They were protecting quite well. But Nightmare was just too much to deal with, man. That was a ridiculous amount of kills. 11 kills on main is unbelievable. Best team, of course, has to go to FX. They get the brick, they get a couple kills, and they get a ton of loot. If Nightmare didn't have as big of a game as they just had, this would be a fantastic mantle brick round for FX, and it still is. But Nightmare make those points look a little weak.
Yeah, I mean, but all respect going over to the side there of Fluxo, they did a phenomenal job managing to secure the mantle break and extract on top of all of that, right? So a really strong run, but it's tough to beat 11 kills coming through from the side of Nightmare. Absolute just they bulldozed their way through this lobby. Nobody else even close with regards to those kills, and it is just a Nightmare dominating position coming into our top killers, right? You can see Equal and DW just carrying such large responsibilities on their shoulders, right? 10 kills between the two of them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Equal Plays was going absolutely nuclear on this map, and he needed to. This was a ton of points that they were able to grab. This is a chance for them to set themselves apart on the leaderboard. It's going to put them in a great position. Look at this. DW found their assist. It was mainly because these two guys were the only two alive for their team after the initial engagement. So a great job from them. Looking at the assets, though, of course, it's going to be all FX. They're the only players that got out of the map. They all snuck out at the very last second. Best case scenario when you're the last team in the lobby to also get out. But Equal Plays will be our MVP. Won some individual engagements and picked up a crazy amount of kills. 6 kill points for the kid, 1,000 damage and assist, and I guess 500,000 thrown into the safe box to boot. So great job from Nightmare and Equal Plays in particular to hold the line and find a ton of points for the team, albeit they did not get the brick.
I think Equal is also just quite relieved that he had enough ammo, right, to sustain the 6 kills that he got. But especially looking at the position that they were fighting in, it was sweaty. They were just boxes flying all over the place. So very impressive performance coming through from them there. Look forward to seeing what they're going to bring in the next round.
I totally agree. You saw it down below. Go drop a follow on all major socials here with Delta Force, and of course the official esports accounts that we're all streaming on as well. You can check out the Delta Force Rise series websites. But again, I am excited for the rest of this match, folks. We are just into day one of the final week of group stages, and it's already been a heater. We'll be back with some Tide Prison. Things might slow down again, but I know that action's going to come at the end of that map. Don't go anywhere.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweat! This... And LG's gotta know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's gonna be hopping off to that.
Got the Mandel bricks. Find and stop them. Mandel bricks decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament, and they're going to do it!
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Down from there it is.
Welcome back. Delta Force Rise series is our last week of group stages, but it's only day one of that last week, and we got a chance to see FX pick up our first brick in day one of week 4. This is great for the standings, and let's take a look at the current match standings, because yes, squad points matter, but Mandel bricks are the most important piece, baby. FX at the top, but Nightmare jump up into second with 11 kills in the last map, 13 total. They're at 20 squad points after 2. That is ridiculous.
It's insane. I mean, so Fluxo has one job. When we get to space, run for the brick, lock it down, and make sure Nightmare doesn't get it, right? Because if they get it, they are almost guaranteed to walk away with a very, very good day overall. I mean, that's insane. 20 squad points after just 2 games. Insanity. But quite a bit of a contrast, right? I mean, SSG, they only have 4. They were only able to get 2 kills so far across the games that we've been looking at. So, yeah. Hopefully we are going to be seeing a little bit of a change up come through from that SSG side. But next up, of course, is going to be Tide Prison. A good opportunity to try and increase the overall profits, increase the overall bank, and of course, maybe burn a few more operators.
That's exactly right. As we move into Tide Prison, of course, we have to shift our attention to another eco round and another round where, frankly, the operators that you choose, yes, they matter for engagements, but the biggest thing is what operators are you not using so you can save them for the Mandel Brick rounds. The operators we do see are Shepard, Morse, Nox. This is a nice tried and true classic. 12 attempts on this. You got a quarter of the time somebody's getting out with this total comp, but in general, the most played operators on this map by a country mile is Nox. 38% here in Americas. I think in EMEA, by the way, this number was like 44%. It was ridiculous how many teams were running double Noxes. So already by far the place you want to play Nox is on Tide Prison, but Morse is the second best option, or at the very least just another option in the comp because of the amount of intel you can pick up. That sonar is so dang important. With the verticality of Tide Prison and the ratty corners, people are going to play slow, and if you can get a read on where they are when they are creeping around, that's going to be a huge boon for you. Quick look at T1 spawns though here. DK does look like it's going to be MW and Liquids who don't get that spawn.
Yeah, but of course, the team that is going to be getting T1 spawn in this one, they know what that means for them, right? Come Space City, they are not going to find themselves in that position. So a lot to look forward to here to see where the teams will get themselves situated.
That's exactly right, folks. Season 1 has been a banger. Somehow we are on our way to wrapping up the group stages here in Season 1. Season 2, though, right around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go sign up for Season 2. We've got open qualifiers. You're wondering how some of these teams got here, some of these players? Well, they made it here through open qualifiers, so it could be you. It could be your chance to get here on main stage and hear me and DK cast over you or all of our amazing talent in both regions. If you're an EMEA player who's staying up late night to tune into the Americas side, this is still for you as well. Registration opens on August 10th, so go get registered and you can compete in the Delta Force Rise series for Season 2 later this year. But let's jump into round 3 here in Tide Prison. Let's see our players grab their loot and get into the map and figure out who's the first to strike blood.
Ooh, it does seem like it's Nightmare and SSG that get their hands on that T1 spawn. I mean, it's great for them for now to get up in towards that up into the administrative district there, to go knocking on the door of the warden's room, but unfortunately that means that we're not going to be seeing that T1 spawn for them coming through over into round number 4. So there's quite a bit of pressure being applied to their shoulders to see if they can do anything with it. In the meantime, though, the rest of the lobby also very spread out. We do see quite a bit of movement all across the place, and of course we are going to be seeing the shots looking to lock in as soon as the two teams down on the southern side find each other.
Yeah, it's a great point. Quick look at our operator choices and the kits everybody's bringing in. All purple all day. We do see a couple double Noxes. Actually, just one this time around. A double Nox coming in from Liquids with Meg back on the Seneva for the second time. But of course, a first engagement potentially at hand here between two heavy-hitting teams. Spacestation Gaming on one side, Nightmare on the other. And it doesn't look like a lot of teams are on the south side of the map here, DK. So if this fight breaks out, it could be a fight that takes a while, but they should be safe to duke it out and see who stands tall without the fear of a third party.
Yeah, third parties are going to be something we're going to try and avoid at this point. But interesting to see that we have a little bit of that Shepherd coming into play as well. At least two teams deciding to go for the Shepherd route. I mean, Shepherd, phenomenal on this map to help defend a position, right? Those Sonic traps just absolutely menacing. But let's see how this one pans out, as DW just waiting for Killzol to poke his head around that corner. But as we know, right, Killzol knows a little bit better. He's going to try and go for a little bit of an ulterior motive here, try a different approach. And both teams essentially just in a bit of a standoff here.
Yeah, this is pretty classic on the south side of the map here in Tide Prison. Couple things worth mentioning as a reminder: GTI supply mission will open up in a little more rather than 2.5 minutes, just barely. Airdrop does eventually land, but the way to get your high caliber weapon is that mission. So we'll watch out to see who grabs that. These two teams can take it patient. Whoever lands some nice solid util may be the first to make the move, but oftentimes in Delta Force, you all know the drill. If you're the first to make the move, oftentimes you get punished. You're waiting on your opponents to make a mistake. But you never know. Equal Plays could have something crazy up his sleeve.
I mean, he has to. Right. He's got a flashlight. Literally just staring down over onto the side there of SSG. They do make a few connections.
Oh, my goodness.
With the utilities being deployed, but it's going to be Farmer Lucas now looking to step up as well. We just see him finding himself in a bit of a fight there. But this is exactly the kind of pacing, right? Teams looking to change it up. A lot of the odds getting triggered, looking for a little bit of something. Meanwhile, Papi Porner is going to be finding his hands on a beautiful Rolex now being found.
Yeah, I got excited there for a second because... Oh, Megalith! 1, 2, see ya later. SSG get pushed back. And I got excited earlier because so much util, the Nox Taste actually landed on Skies and got him extremely weak. But my goat, Megalith, is just throwing arrows down range and not only getting knocks, but getting cleanups. Nice job. Did the little hop skip, the jump over there. Kills all should be able to get this res, but Jadevise has been told to go over there, get aggressive, try to get them away from the body. We'll see if Jadevise can actually punish this or is going to back off and stay with his team.
It does seem like he's definitely considering that, but not enough information as to which way to go moving into that bush. But unfortunately, though, Jadevise having the Nox is going to allow him to get really, really close to the side there of SSG and play the upset, right? That is exactly the operator that you could use for such a strategy. But in the meantime, it is going to be looting. The teams have the opportunity to find a few additional reds on here as well, right? We, of course, still are playing through our final eco round for the day, right? The last time to make as much bank as you can before heading over into Space City.
The best way to get money, go get your kills. Learn that from our GOAT's Nightmare. My goodness, 8.8 mil in kills alone, which eclipses the 8.2 that FX were able to take out after looting everybody's bodies. Insane to say out loud, but kills are everything. And so far, the only team with a kill is going to be Liquids. Now, of course, Spacestation Gaming was able to get that res, which is an important factor. But just know, one of their players has already been to yellow timer. If SSG get into an extended fight, one of those players will not be able to get back on their feet. I believe it was Skies, if I'm not mistaken, but I can double check that here in a second. Nightmare creeping, though, and MW creeping on the other side. If they get a little intel here, Nightmare could pop up and get another 3-piece.
That's exactly what they need, right? They need to turn up the aggression. I mean, this is their last opportunity to try and make a little bit of something happen before we get over onto the Mandelbrick triple dose. So there is going to be multiple opportunities here for them. And I mean, they are so close to the side here of Nightmare. Again, this being tight prison, you've got to watch the different levels, right? You got to look at that approach. You got to try and play as tactful as you can here. But for now, it is just going to be a little bit of that loot sesh coming through here for Pildora, trying to get as much as he can. Can he find something useful? Can he find something great? Ooh, getting close. Decent ground, though, and the mantle. Easy pickup.
Yeah, not too shabby. End of the day, though, if you're not pulling reds, you got a little bit of something there. 187k. If you're not pulling reds, and you're not pulling, like, key cards or something, it's nice to add a little extra cash for sure to build out your loadout, but in general, not worth a ton. You got to get up to 2 million in stash value. Every 2 million is a supply point. And yes, that can go down. And as per the usual, Tide Prison is nice and slow. So yes, it may sound like we're casting a documentary, but in the meantime, look at Leviathan. They've been able to pick up the GTI supply mission. And I see 50 cal rounds. That's an M82 entering the map. Leviathan with a nice little advantage. These teams know that mission is gone. They don't know who completed it. So Leviathan could surprise some folks if SSG peek this corner for just a hair too long. One shot, one kill, see you later and sit down. Let's see if they get any value out of it, DK, or again, as per the usual, do they decide to just leave with it?
Hey, I mean, I'm all for it. Just either you leave with it or you use it. Either which way, I will be happy because if they leave with it, we could see it a little bit later on. One man, though, that you don't want to give that to is going to be Killzone. You just hope that he doesn't get the opportunity to get a little bit of that slap ammo in his pocket. But I like the awareness coming through here from Leviathan, right? Not going to be looking to risk it all. Instead, trying to play it cautious, trying to clear the angles before moving up, even if they have to deal with the bots.
Socio is so close to getting a pick on SSG. I actually really liked, I don't know if you all noticed that Socio just shot his gun down range to try to get SSG to peek, because he knows if they peek, he can one-tap them. So just trying to draw some aggro, and certainly the aggro is here. They likely know he could have a sniper now. There's a chance Killzone noticed it on the other side, but I still see 5 rounds, so Socio hasn't even shot one yet. They haven't heard the gun. They haven't heard the deathly explosion that this weapon gives off when you fire it downrange. But they are being quite careful. SSG not trying to give away another free kill to another team.
A little bit of a cat and mouse game that we are looking at right here, but good deployment going through there from Socio, just sending the utilities out. It doesn't seem like Leviathan are going to be looking to commit too aggressively to that position, at least not for the time being. It's kind of just waiting things out, looking to see how it goes. But who's not waiting is going to be Meg. Right, Meg absolutely relentless with that compound bow, trying to be an absolute pain to FX all the way across the map. But unfortunately, scopes, they just work so well. So we did see that quick hit going right over in the direction of Megs. So yeah, the heat is on, the pressure is up. You gotta dance around that block and try and stay alive as best you can.
Muro actually picked up one arrow, maybe to the arm there, but that's about it. And Megalith did a good job, able to find the airdrop. Was nice. They got a fossil, cool. It only brings up their total assets in pocket for Megalith alone to 500,000. And that's a quarter of the way to a point. And unfortunately, we don't deal in quarter points. You got to go all the way to 2 to get anything. With that, though, we'll swing around and see where everybody else is at. SSG playing around the boss. You see Raven down below, strolling through the prison. But it's still all calm. 8 minutes on the clock. We have seen 10 minutes go by, and the only damage that has exchanged hands is an errant arrow. That's the way she goes,
yeah,
DK.
Sometimes that's all we get, right? So, I mean, we did see Meg, of course, also coming through with a few of those immaculate hits.
Oh no!
With the compound bow. But you got to watch out for those pushes up from behind, as that is exactly what Leviathan is going to be looking to do now. They do spot out the opportunities. They did get that first initial drop. The opening play is there, but can they follow through and close it up?
2 fights happening at the same time. We saw the M82 come into fruition. FX is going to add insult to injury on Liquids, who's in a blender. But in the meantime, MW and Nightmare kick things off, and Nightmare have the advantage. 1 down in a 3v2. As per the usual, again, I say the same things every time, but all the fights happen at the same time in Tide Prison. A 3v2, it feels like Nightmare are just going to full send this, but nice util over the top. MW able to strike 1 down because look who's here. Look at this, equal plays, finds the right angles. FX is getting kills left, right, and center, and it looks like the Shark is getting a kill on FX. All hell's breaking loose, DK, and SSG's taking down MW. What is happening? MW, the first team to fall.
Yeah, sometimes you have to feed the pets, right? So GG to the Shark. Oh, that's crazy. But in the meantime, though, it is going to be Killzone looking to get aggressive as he pushes up onto Nightmare. You can see equal primed and ready to go. A little bit of a standoff yet again. Both sides having their Noxes at hand, but only one team can successfully push on through here. Again, that Shepherd ult is just so strong, making things a little bit better here for the side now of Nightmare to just get back on their feet, get their players back into the fight. And the pressure is on yet again. 6 minutes slow is going to be what we have left on the clock. And so far, we are going to be looking to see who will go for that far south extraction, right? Who is going to look to get themselves out of here? Because already Marino right there on it, right? He's primed and ready to go. Meanwhile, SSG, though, and Nightmare still very active in this engagement.
Oh, easy finds the angle, though. Down goes equal plays. Nightmare in a blender, and Lucas knows it. He's got to get out of here. He can't stay for equal plays. You think Lucas can win a 1v3 against these guys? It's possible, but it would be very difficult. If he's ever going to win it, he's got to isolate some ones. To do that, he's got to break some camera angles, so he is off to the races to get the heck out of here until he can maybe jump them by surprise, or at the very least, just try to stay alive. In the meantime, this is what I was about to call out Socio Legend. He's at least thrown 3 bullets down range, and 3 bullets have connected. We'll double check to see if he's missed one, because in that big fight that was happening a moment ago, he did get another knock on FX, who did end up getting their res, and then Socio re-knocks them yet again. Marino in the water, Leviathan hunting the water, trying to live up to their icon's namesake and be a Leviathan in the water, hunting down their opponents. Uemura on the, I was going to say run, but I guess the swim away from Socio Legend, who is a cold-blooded killer right now. A couple knocks, but Tomiozo, a nice hold across the way. Can Widows come in and help out? No, it's going to be Eclipse that does so. Leviathan still hunting. Socio Legend will likely go to Yellow Timer, but they should still... Tomiozo! He's going huge! Another goes down. Eclipse going to have to be a hero? Swimming? What a play from FX.
Yeah, they're not out of this fight just yet, right? They are going to try and keep it up. They do have a metal brick in tow already, right? They are going to look to go the distance. Tomiozo quickly bring the team back into fighting form. I mean, especially looking at Leviathan, this is exactly the opportunity, but it is going to be a race, right? The moment Social Legend is up, the shots are going to start to fly on through him. We're going to just quickly try and scout out the area to know exactly where to point his barrel. Does seem quite a few of the Leviathan players down below, but still such a difficult position to play through.
To recap, Nightmare Solo is still alive and running around inside of Tide Prison trying to escape this SSG team who has seemingly lost him. But the fight on main has been a weird one. Water creates so many difficulties with the way you shoot your weapon. You can't shoot these weapons underwater, so you have to play where you almost like dolphin up, catch some air, and then take your shots down range. And Tomiozo was in a really strong position on this rock. And he was in such a strong position, he was actually able to pick up Urimura. Well, nice shots there from Eclipse to get him weak, but Tomiozo is now gone for the flank and is playing for the extraction. He's actually just going to get out of here. Could share with Socio Legend if Socio gets up in time, but he doesn't. Socio misses it by mere second or two. Socio is going to have to stay on the map. Great play from FX. What a heads-up extraction amidst the chaos. FX does finally get eliminated, but they do get a player out, and that's a nice protection of loot while also getting a couple kills. But we swing over to more kills because we're in the final 3 minutes, which means we have to fight SSG. They've lost one, but Sky's still hunting their opponents. It's easy, finds one.
Yep, still quite a few engagements to come here as we are going to be looking across the board. Not a lot of time, though, as we are left with only 2 minutes and about 20 seconds on that countdown. So whatever these teams feel like doing, they're going to have to get to it real quick and fast. You can see Meg going for on the patrol here, looking to see if there's any potential victims for him to find. Just closing up the doors before focusing in, closing it up. Meanwhile, SSG doing a very similar thing. Can they, though, get their hands on their teammate? Meg is going to be locking it down. You got to watch out for that Saliva compound bow combo. That is absolute insanity. But I love the boldness being shown here by Meg as, well, he's now going to be put to the test, right? SSG full sending it up right to him.
Yeah, they're certainly not going to go for the res when there's only 2 minutes on the clock. They feel like they've got the advantage, and they are right. But if Meg can isolate these ones, if Skies gets over aggressive here and peaks too early, he could knock one, get the reload, and knock the other. But no, just barrel stuff him, see you later. Meg is gone. A decent effort, but they knew that they could outplay them with the amount of util they had. Saniva is nice, but Widows is going to try to enact some revenge for the side. Oh no, comes around the corner and doesn't realize that Easy's holding the cross. Easy yet again coming in clutch. It's too easy for SSG. And with 70 seconds on the clock, it's going to be Eclipse and Socio Legend still on the map for Leviathan. And just one member of SSG still alive as Sky is hiding down under with 1 HP in a dream.
Yep, sometimes a dream is all you need. It does seem like there's chaos absolutely all over the place. Still happening up in Tide. Guy's now trying his absolute best to stay alive as long as possible as Eclipse is going to be moving up, scanning the area. And it's literally a 2v1 in the last few remaining seconds on the clock here. Leviathan, though, 2.9 mil, not going to be a bad day. I hope that they were able to cram a lot of that up in their safe boxes, because that is going to be the only way to get it out of here. Looking at SSG, though, 5 kills on the board for them. It's going to be a decent day. Good earnings, even though they weren't able to really start off all too strong here today.
And Leviathan, even amidst having that M82, only pick up 3 from Socio Legend. Final 5 seconds. They're trying to find Skies. Skies has 0 HP and is just hiding in the water, and there will not be enough time. SSG all smiles as Sky has played a little bit of hide and seek, and they're excited to prevent Leviathan from picking up any more kill points. And 5 kills, like you mentioned, a pretty decent eco round for them. That's a nice 4 mil straight to the bank, as well as the 5 points they pick up. And shrugs sighs from a team like Liquids, who found, yes, their bow kill, but that's about it. And other than that, it was a very interesting map, honestly, DK. We've seen Tide Prisons play like that fairly often, where it's very slow until the final seconds, but at the same time, all of the fights we saw were so chaotic and it's so at the same time, and so many of trading of blows. There wasn't like a clear victor on this map like there oftentimes is. Nobody really won the map. SSG, though, the best team, because they did pick up 5 kills, which is the most of any team, plus the damage, plus decent assets. At least we saw a couple players sneak out, and they got some prevention of assets, but this is what I'm talking about. Everybody besides MW picked up around the same amount of points, aside from Spacestation, who was a little bit ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes being a little bit ahead is just exactly what you need to get, right? We did see 2 of those extractions happening as well. So, yeah, pretty tight plays across the board. But that is going to be the end of our eco rounds. Right now is where the sweatiness is about to come on through. But before we get there, we are taking a look at our top killers here. Too Easy and Socio picking up 3 eliminations apiece. And, of course, the damage continues to stack on up. Meg, rather, being an absolute menace when it comes to that compound bow, walking away with nearly 700 damage and quite a few successful hits.
Yeah, it's great stats here across the board. Assists coming through for Skies and Too Easy and Kills All. They're all assisting each other in the team fights that they had. But it was Leviathan Socio Legend that was able to pick up a little over 500,000 in total assets. Rapids with the same, and Eclipse with about the same as well. It's actually going to go to this Leviathan Socio Legend as the MVP of the round individually, just because he got 3 kills, solid damage, and got some assets. So great job from Socio Legend to kind of be everywhere at once. But at the end of the day, unfortunately for Leviathan, is that they weren't able to get out with the M82, and therefore it will stay on Tide Prison. DK, yet again, another high-caliber weapon missing out on a Mantle Brick round. Be very interested to see what happens in the future Space City rounds without an or an M82 potentially rearing its ugly head, and unfortunately knocking some people down very, very quickly. So some fun combos, but we do have to head to a very short break. When we come back, it's Space City time until we're done, or until we get to Game 7, folks. You're not going to want to miss it.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and NT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweat! This... And LG's gotta know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOB, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's gonna be hopping off that.
I'm Jay Devise, and I play with Liquid's SZ. I originally found Delta Force through the Black Hawk Down campaign, and it was the first time I had ever used mouse and keyboard, so making the transition from controller over, it felt good and fun, and I ended up diving into operations, and I just fell in love with it. My teammates are Meg the Megalodon, aka the Bowman, and we have Poppy Poner, our secret silent weapon. So the team was originally created without me, and then Meg reached out to me to be a substitute. We ended up going through the qualifiers. I had to fill in a few times, and now we're here. So we've all been friends for a while, but this is actually our first time ever competing together. So the evolving has yet to begun. But what sets us apart is, first of all, the bow. Meg is very well known now as being the bowman, using the combat bow. And also, our friend chemistry going in allows us to just smoothly transition between different fights and different situations in a very cohesive way. I'm most proud of our coordination and our ability to adapt as a team. What gets my heart pumping the most is waiting for that final minute of the Mandel brick to decode. But we don't want to share any of our secrets too early, but all you need to know is remember the bow. As a brand new team, we're not worried about the finish. We're just looking to conquer each day one by one at a time and to push ourselves as far as we can go.
The enemy got the Mandel bricks. Find and stop them. Mandel bricks decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Very much. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
That's so much damage in there it is.
Welcome back, Delta Force Rise series. It's our last week of the group stages, but it's day one of our final weekend as we prepare for championship weekend. Next week, I'm going to be honest, DK, we just wrapped up Tide Prison. I don't know who's going to win this one because a couple of these teams look hot, but FX is technically at the top of the leaderboard because they're the only team with the Mandel brick. SSG come alive a bit in Tide Prison, but it's still going to be a team like Nightmare in second place and probably Leviathan right behind them. And look at it, it's exactly right. SSG have crept up to fourth, but in general, FX at the top because of the brick. Nightmare and Leviathan slaying out the lobby.
Yep, they are definitely doing quite a bit of work here, but it's all going to boil down to what comes into this next round, right? Round number 4 is where it all will be decided. If FX gets their hand on that Mandel brick and they do get a successful extraction, it's it, right? It is us done for the day, but looking at the pacing coming through from the rest of the lobby, that might not be as simple, right? Nightmare, 23 points on the board, so much aggression coming through from their end. They are here, they mean business, so really looking forward to seeing what they're going to be doing with regards to those Mandel bricks. But yeah, it's all down to Space City, right? The big decider to see how this day is going to end.
Space City until we're done, unless we get to Game 7. And in Game 7, the team in last gets to choose between Brakkesh and Space City for the final map of the day. I love this format, man. FX, the only team that could close it out in 4. Everybody else vying for their first Mandel brick to try to tie with FX, who frankly doesn't have very many squad points. So anybody else that gets a brick at this point likely moves up into first place on our leaderboard at the end of round 4. I want to hear it from chat. Do you all think FX can do it? Can they double brick just like Evil Geniuses, or actually Leviathan did? Leviathan just did it last weekend. I was going to talk about a different instance, but no, literally last weekend, Leviathan double bricked here in the Americas region. Leviathan desperately wanting to continue to top these leaderboards and join the top 2 in our overall rankings. But looking at our operators, this is a great time to hype up Tempest, currently the best operator in the meta based on this format. Great for the double brick format, especially being able to grab that brick off spawn at Space City here, DK.
Yeah, that's what we are going to be seeing a lot of potentially rolling into it, right? It all basically down to what the teams have up their sleeve, right? Are they going to look to play their first Tempest here, or are they going to look to go for a different loadout? As we know, Stinger, Luna, as well as Tempest is going to be the preferred choice coming through onto Space City. But we have 3 potential runs at Space City. So you want to be very strategic as to when you choose to use your 2 Tempest plays. But Tempest, as you've said, right, is going to be the operator that does the most and is so valuable when it comes to the overall play on Space City itself.
Yeah, and Luna, Toxic, the next 2 favorable operators. Luna is fantastic for the recon arrow, of course. Getting a ton of info through smokes, in particular on Mantle Break rounds, is invaluable. But you look at the spawns. Again, we talk about the spawns and the spawns you want and you don't want. Tier 1 spawns are the most important. Leviathan and SSG. That's the one time maybe you don't want a Tier 1 spawn, which was on Tide Prison, because it means they cannot have a Tier 1 spawn going into Space City. Those are the only 2 teams. Everybody else could be anywhere. That's our only rule when it comes to spawns. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Space City. Day 1 of week 4 here in the groups. You're tuned in at the exact right time because, as per the usual, going into map 4 in our first Space City map, it's time to reward you, the viewer, for being here. Thanks for being here. We got another code for you. Type it in as fast as you can. 1,000 Delta tickets. It's only 15 redemptions. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing my voice, you may be too late already. Type in this code as fast as you can in-game or the official website and go get your 1,000 Delta tickets. You could be one of our lucky winners. Do this every single day. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You might want to be here tomorrow for another America's Region matchup if you want these tickets. But DK, take it away. It's time for Space City.
Yes, sir. It is going to be go, go, go. We're already looking at where the teams find themselves. We do see Leviathan coming through with that glorious T1 spawn. The same, of course, going over to the side of MW. So both teams beautifully set up. But for Leviathan, there's a little bit of pressure coming in behind you. As you can see, FX trying to pick them up. Pretty good trades going over on towards Widows, but not enough to stop that push through coming from the Leviathan side, right? So all they got to do is batch up and keep on pushing, as SSG is also making a very aggressive send up into that central position.
Yeah, and again, we always talk about Westgate being the problem, but take a look over at Employee Passage 2. Another issue. Liquid's actually got a knock on one member of MW. They come flying in. Luckily, MW was actually able to pick up a res, but in the meantime, another knock on main. It looks like SSG just lost a player, so they all try to play around and position around this Mantle Brick spawn. Quick look at the gear, though, and operators. Very important point. You can see that across the board, we've got Tempest, aside from Nightmare and SSG, both not running a Tempest in this first Mantle Brick round. They are definitely thinking we are going longer than 4, so we'll see if that gamble pays off for them, DK.
Yeah, these teams, they've played enough of Tide to have a pretty good read on what this lobby could be bringing on through. Of course, looking at where the teams are currently situated, Leviathan, definitely a strong position if the teams are going to be opting to decode over in the alley here. But for now, it is a bit of a standoff. Nobody having their hands on that Mantle Break just yet. But of course, we've seen teams going in a whole variety of directions when it comes to getting that decoding situated. So it's all now a bit of a waiting game as SSG and Leviathan find themselves in a standoff. Meanwhile, the push is going to come through from the side of Meg. Again, looking to capitalize. Oh, what a beautiful hit, but Lucas so close to finding himself in a world of trouble here.
Yeah, it took a bit of damage from some of the NPCs as well, so it's clearing those out while preparing for this new potential rotation or this very slow play. Nightmare is in a position on bridge, which is favorable for many reasons. The main one is that you're overlooking decoding stations. And I'll come back to that here in a moment because I think SSG is putting down a ton of damage on Leviathan. I thought they may full send this. They don't have Tempest. Remember, it's SSG that doesn't have the Tempest. You can see it on the left, and Nightmare. So both of these 2 teams should be playing a bit slower, preparing for the decoding station wherever it ends up being. And then going to try to zone off from that. Both teams are running a Luru, so incendiaries are going to be extremely valuable. But as a zoning mechanism, it's a way that they can play around the decoding station rather than playing hyper-aggressive with a Tempest.
Yeah, and that is definitely a strategy or a tactic these teams can look to capitalize on, right? I mean, playing aggressive with Tempest makes a whole lot of sense. That's essentially what Tempest does exceptionally well. But the teams always find a way to kind of change and do things that we are not expecting to see come through from them. Speaking of which, though, MW, we're expecting them to try and secure a lot of points in this round. Maybe even a Mantle Break.
I mean, they desperately need to. They're down at the bottom of the leaderboard right now. gonna look for some extra loot. And in the meantime, another interesting thing I saw from our loadouts, we were kind of quickly blazing through, but FX is full sending here. Yes, of course, FX is running Tempest. Oftentimes, you see the team that actually got the brick in the first round in Brakkesh will not run Tempest on this round, so they assuredly will have it for rounds 5 and 6. Reminder, round 7, everything resets. FX is trying to put all their eggs in one basket and go for the win. Not only are they running Tempest, they're also running all golds. One of the only teams, if not the only team, to run full gold everything going into this round. It doesn't look like they're going to get very aggressive, though. They're playing Harborside, they're playing into the water, and trying to figure out up and around that water side if they're just going to chill and wait for somebody to make the first move, as Nightmare is as well. Nightmare have a strong position on the bridge. They're protecting the decoding station. They're waiting for somebody to make the first move. And for now, it's the classic cat and mouse game, but it's with the entire lobby.
Ooh. Is somebody going to cheese it though? That is going to be the big question. Does seem like SSG just managing to dodge that initial push going through. As Flinder, the Flinder utility rather, being thrown all over the place. But Leviathan, they are going to try and go for that decode, trying to get this whole process underway. They do succeed in doing exactly that. And this is where the party starts, right? Leviathan, they're going to have to lock this position down if they want to get that one in the bag. But again, looking at FX Lord, right? They have an easy way up onto the ramp. And this could be exactly their ticket to contest that mantle brick.
Yeah, we saw it in that X-ray of Socio Legend doing a great job of utilizing that emergency evasion device, that's Tempest's ult, to sneak underneath, grab the brick, and bring it back to safety. This is the classic play that works really well. If you have control of this decoding station, it's the perfect play if you can sneak in and nobody shoots you to just bring the brick right back using that ult. It's very simple. It's classic. We've seen it 1,000 times at this point, and Leviathan able to execute that game plan. Everybody's still playing extremely patient, letting this brick slowly tick away. SSG by far the closest. MW starting to make a move. And it looks like Liquids is finally rotating. They've actually gone north. They're going to go through Central Command and across bridge potentially to come play for the brick. And Nightmare and FX are content to just hold.
Sometimes holding is not the worst strategy that you can actually look to play for, especially on a map where the pacing could quickly shift gears, right? Going from what we are experiencing right now to something a lot more chaotic. But I like what Nightmare is doing here, right? We got Lucas, Equal, and DW just holding up on the bridge, trying to scope things out ahead of them. Meanwhile, SSG, right? Killzone is not going to sit back and wait for things to happen. As we know, this is kind of the mentality coming through from SSG, right? Look to step forward, try to play the upsets, and change the dynamic as much as they can. But Leviathan, they've got pretty good control over this mantle break. So whatever SSG is going to look to do here, it's not going to come easy.
Yeah, I mean, Nightmare was just getting some intel. I didn't actually love the fact that we're just going to sit there. And it does look like they may be on the move. You should see them enter. There they are. Look at in the X-ray on the far right-hand corner. As actually Megalith does pick up one on Pildora. So MW now being thwarted from moving. They were the only team that could threaten the storage container side of this decoding station. Nightmare is on the move, and they're going to go play through ramp. Unfortunately, FX is playing unbelievably patient. Back by water, they could maybe shoot Nightmare in the back if they go up ramp. Nightmare actually going to elect to go inside. They're going to go play for the bottom side up the stairs of Centrifuge, having to go through Leviathan. 80 seconds on the clock. We oftentimes say some of these rotations come in very late for the brick. Does look like Nightmares has actually been well timed, as Leviathan are going to start feeling pressure from a couple different angles.
Now the waiting continues, right? I mean, the pushes are coming up slowly but surely. The teams again trying to not make too much of an upset, but they don't really have a lot of time to play too much of a cautious play here, right? They need to get aggressive, and that seems to be the case here as Meg is trying to just clear out the position moving forward. Ooh, gets a good read on Killzone, but unfortunately not managing to get anything done with the boat just yet. Quick reposition, trying to change up the angles. The SSG also falling back, just trying to create a little bit of space here, give themselves the opportunity to maybe go at something here. But Leviathan now going to get tested, right? Nightmare and Liquids both stepping up forward, but J-Device quickly getting dropped down. Not going to be able to have a successful push just yet, but this is so much pressure on the shoulders here for LEVIATAN.
15 seconds. I don't think it matters. J-Device's ult already got popped. That was how he got knocked. Socio Legends gonna just stick this and get onto the decoding station as per the usual. Gonna get a free brick. Everybody moved a bit too late. Pildoro tries to cross the battlefield using the ult as well, but all the ults have been spent. All the util's been spent, and everybody's still standing. Well, now 2/3 of LEVIATAN still standing. They get a free brick by being aggressive, playing that Tempest, and they join FX at the top of the leaderboard. And now it's a Slayer's game. It's time to go get some kills, ladies and gentlemen. FX, I'm not really sure the game plan here. Unfortunately, they were way too slow. They're investing golds, they're investing Tempest, and they're not even playing for the brick, just expecting somebody else to go for a steal so they can come in late like they did in Brakkesh. But now you got to make it worth it. You either got to get out or get some kills, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're doing either of that. Losing one in transition, I don't mean to be critical of the team now in second place, but all things going wrong for FX. LEVIATAN down to just one, yes. But Socio Legends just going for kills, and one goes to yellow timer, the other dodging away.
We'll see whether or not FX can actually look to piece this one back together, right? Down to a 2-piece. Is there going to be an opportunity for them to bring Tamioso back into the fight? That is going to be what Marino might be looking to focus on here. But with MW looking to step up as well, it is not going to be a very easy play moving forward. Socio Legend keeping a very tight eye on their positions here. Can hear or sense the position of the squad just alongside them. Meg again coming through with the compound here. Looking to pressure SSG into making or potentially faltering along the way. Good angle here. Killzolt just trying everything he can to ward off the advances. But Liquids, they are pretty locked in. They want to keep on applying the pressure. But can they get the play though?
Equal Plays is on a triple already. Nightmare is doing an unbelievable job of finding kill after kill after kill. MW fully eliminated finally, as FX is getting some value with their golds right now. Yes, a duo, but they found a couple kills to boot off screen. As Marino catches quite a bit of util, is going to zip back and heal up and continue to play with his duo. It looks like Nightmare's the one pressuring FX now. So a couple kills for FX. Equal Plays on 3. But that's the only kills there for Nightmare. LEVIATAN does finally get full wipe, like we mentioned. 2 teams fully out, but LEVIATAN did what they needed to do. They have the brick, and of course, they have the score over FX as of current. Easy's able to pick up Meg. DW's able to pick up Oimura. So FX on a solo. Liquid's a duo. Oh, sneaky, sneaky. Mr. Marino does pick up one, immediately punished for it. But hey, they got at least something on the map for all their efforts. A lot more action, though, DK.
Yes, sir. Here we go. It's coming in by the bucket loader. Look at that, Boppy. Just driving it into SSG. It's going to be up to T-Easy to see if he can survive this one. But goes, it does seem like the teams are trying to do anything they can here. I mean, Nightmare looking absolutely phenomenal. They are up to 30 points in total so far. They still have the full trio up. And SSG going to try and make some magic happen here as well. This is the opportunity to go for those plays. Still sitting with just under 6 minutes on the clock. Liquids, though, getting spotted out as they're trying to move about. Also trying to keep the team in contention. But up comes SSG. It's going to be go, go, go. Bumpy now having some pretty sweaty positions to try and worry about. But look at the angles. Too easy. Getting absolutely lasered down. Quickly falling behind the cover. And down goes the side of Killzone. Now, it's all relying on the sole survivor coming through for SSG to keep them in this fight. But Nightmare DW is going to be rushing forward onto the position here. Bumpy making so much noise. Very easy for DW to fight. Beautiful hit coming in, though.
A nice util over the top. Poppy Poner and side of Nightmare actually working together to take down SSG. There they go. Equal Plays finding another. He's on 5 equal plays. A hero in this match today. So many kills from this man. DW finding some assists as well. Nightmare's been on a heater recently, and they're still not missing. It doesn't matter who it is. DW finds the final kill, and they win the map. And if they move fast enough, there's maybe a chance they actually get out. Equal Plays sprinting for it. They'd have to move very quick, though. So there's a chance there's maybe not enough time and they're going to go for safe boxes. Let's see what they decide to do. But either way you look at it, Nightmare win the map, but Leviathan get the brick.
Yeah, an interesting share across the board coming through from them. And again, interestingly enough, though, the team landing their hands on that mantle brick, not walking away with a big amount of profits, right? So a very interesting decision being made there. But Nightmare, though, they are going to try and get that extraction, right? And they just barely managed to do so with 5 seconds to spare on the clock. This is going to be close, but looking at the amount of time that they have now, this is their opportunity to fill up their inventory as much as they can here.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be close, but Equal Plays actually left that engagement earlier when they recognized it was just one player. Equal Plays started running. I wonder if there was a call to say, at least get that extract going. We know we win this. If he hadn't moved a little bit sooner or been playing the backside of these fights at the very least, they don't get these levers off and they miss out on a ton more points. Now, they are ahead of everybody else by like 15 points at minimum, if not more. But still, it is nice to add a little extra points on top here. These are big, big points that they're getting. And you got to remember, if they loot efficiently and they check all the bodies, they can find them all. FX had full golds across the board. This is a huge win that they'd have 2 full gold kits that they could theoretically use in the next 2 rounds if they all get out, which they certainly will. So keep that in mind. If they loot all of the golds from their opponents, and it doesn't look like they've all brought in their golds yet, if I remember correctly, that is a lot of gold in the next 2 rounds. Nightmare likely going to be going for the brick in the next one. Oh my god, wait, they just pulled a 4.8 mil key card as well. Are you kidding me? What a ridiculous luck on top of all the bodies.
Yeah, I mean, they are just capitalizing, right? Currently sitting on 11 million. Make it 12. They're going to hit 12 just about now as soon as they go about it. Yep, there we have it, 12.6 million. So a really good loot session coming through for the side here of Nightmare. You can see the overall score all the way up to 37. So they are having a field there, and they still have time left to get even more loot going as we are about to hit 2 minutes on that countdown clock. So yeah, there is a big opportunity for Nightmare to just absolutely run away with that loot.
Yeah, insane. What luck after a nice win. There's some idiom about luck being a mix of timing and skill or something like that. I can't remember it at the time, but that's what it feels like right now. They had to put themselves into the position to get this luck, right? They had to utilize their skill to be here in the final moments of this game to be able to pull that. They pull a CEO's key card. Golly. 4.8 mil on top of the bodies that they looted, and they pulled the lever with 5 seconds remaining. If only they would have gotten the brick, I would be singing their songs for ages to come, DK. Good grief.
Yeah, right. That one would go into the history books of that miraculous day when the plays happened. But yeah, I think this is a very well-deserved turnout coming through for the side here of Nightmare. All we got to see now is we just need a brick to come their way as well. But quick look back at how they got to where they are. Nightmare just going absolutely to town, just raking up points all over the place. But I like what Liquids were trying to do here as well, right? Kind of just sticking it to the side of SSG, being an absolute menace and causing so much.
Yeah, it's a great job from Poppy to at least find some, even though they get cut down. Nice angle. It worked out as well that Nightmare pushed at the exact same time. Again, once those shots were fired, Nightmare, of course, were answering them. A little bit of a call and response from the lads. A lot of points on the board, loot included, but kills leading the charge for their overall leaderboard. You could have 39 points like this team may have when they leave. You could have 139 points, but if you don't have a mantle brick, you're going to find yourself at the top of the teams that also don't have a brick. Nightmare, a ton of points, but they're going to be in 3rd place because Leviathan get the brick. It might be smiles for Nightmare here shortly, but Leviathan likely bigger smiles as they are now in 1st place as FX lose their lives on the map, lose a ton of gold gear, and therefore will be down on the leaderboard comparatively to their opponents.
Yeah, and they can't really afford to have too many of those instances happening for them here, as we know there is a good opportunity for somebody to close it up in that next round. And I mean, especially losing your golds, burning them this early on is going to make things a little bit more difficult to try and recover in the coming few rounds. So let's see how this one is going to pan out. But in the meantime, our best team of this round, round number 4, our very first Space City of the day, is going to be none other than LEVIATAN. As you can see, Social, as well as Widows and Eclipse carrying the team up here. 1 kill going their way, 743 damage. But they did the important part, right? They got the mantle brick in the bag, but Nightmare, though, 7 kills as well.
Yeah, 7 kills. They also got 16 million out of that map. Folks, that's the first time in a while that I can say the supply points are greater than the kill points from that one, if you don't calculate the technicality that comes with the kills. 16 mil, that's 8.7 kills. That's 7 points, at least 15 points from that map alone from Nightmare, plus a little extra with that 800k bonus per kill. Good grief, equal plays. Finding 5 in that one is ridiculous. Remember, every kill for these players is also $50 real to their name. That's a $250 map from Mr. Equal Plays. My goodness. Great job, great damage. Equal Plays goes big. Takes some great engagements. Remember, Nightmare came in very late coming from Bridge. They expected somebody to go play for the brick, and they wanted to have a power position, and unfortunately couldn't get to the brick in time. Definitely had the power position in the fights. J-Device does pick up a couple assists for this Liquid's team. Kills all there as well. The top asset earners will, of course, be all Nightmare all day. Lucas being given the key card there at the end does push him well above the others, though. 9 mil just from him alone.
Yeah, 9 mil is going to be pretty good. But what's even better is going to be our MVP here, Nightmare Equal, coming through with a pretty strong position. 4.2 million in the bag, 5 kills and 800 and nearly 50 damage being secured. So yeah, Nightmare definitely looking to capitalize on the opportunity given to them in this round. But of course, as we know, it is not over yet. We still have another one to come.
We've got maybe a couple more. Who knows what could happen, folks? And if you're loving this action, or maybe you're thinking you could do a bit better, it's your time to prove it. Season 2 right around the corner. We're still wrapping up Season 1, but Season 2's open registration for open qualifiers opens on August 10th. You can see it right down below. You can also follow at @DeltaForce_game on socials to make sure you stay up to date with all pertinent information on that. You can also go check out the eSports tab on the official website, panels down below. You all know how to get all that info. Go check it out. Open registration August 10th. Get your team ready, or maybe get yourself ready to sub in for some of these teams that maybe don't make it to Season 2. Who knows what could happen? Just be ready. We're going to take a short break here in the booth. When we come back, you better be ready for another Space City map. It could be our last.
Members, now the odds are in their favor. 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little. So hang on a second, NL. Look at that. It's an absolute sweat. This. And LG's got to know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts. For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's going to be hopping off that.
stop them. Mandel break decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Much damage, and there it is.
Welcome back. Delta Force Rise Series Groups A and C just wrapped up here in day number 1 of week 4 of the group stages. Their first Space City map in Leviathan. Strike again. They find their way to a brick and therefore join the ranks of FX at the top of the leaderboard. Both with a brick, but both a little bit lower in total squad points than a team nearby. Third place, no brick. Nightmare is dominating this lobby from the killing category. And I gotta say, DK, I'm a bit scared. If they find their way to a mantle brick, I don't know if anybody can catch them.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens if they get their hand on that. I mean, looking at the gap that they have, it is going to be an absurd amount of aggression teams will have to get, right? 40 versus 18. If they get the double break, that is their ticket punch right then and there. 23 kills on the board, 17 supply points. I mean, they've got it all. All they need is mantle breaks to catch up to Leviathan and, of course, Fluxo. And so I'm pretty sure the two teams sitting at the top of the board, they are sweating mantle bricks.
Yeah, I mean, good grief. What, 23 kills? That is well beyond everybody else. Nightmare is slaying out this lobby. If you want to do a little bit of math as well, this is over a $1,000 match for them thus far. $50 per kill. This is great stuff here from Nightmare. We got to talk operators, though. Some of the teams didn't use Tempest on purpose because they want to use Tempest in these next 2 rounds. Remember, you can use each operator only twice through the course of the first 6 games. We just finished 4. So 5 and 6, if you haven't used a Tempest yet, you can use it in both rounds. SSG will be in that category. You should see them with the Tempest in both these next 2 reps. Could see them join the ranks of a couple of these teams that have a brick already. Luna, Toxic, we know the operators that are the best for Space City if you still have them. A lot of our teams have already used 1. So the question is now, DK, as we look at spawns and look at where the teams could spawn, they have to make some hard decisions. Do you use a Tempest in this round and risk not having one in round 6? Or do you hold on for dear life and pray that one of these 2 teams that have a brick don't get one here so you have an advantage in round 6 with that Tempest?
I mean, that's going to be the tough call to make, right? Teams have to play very, very decisively. Of course, the squads that have not yet used their Tempest, they can use it right now. This would be a great opportunity for them to do exactly that, and I'm pretty sure that is what teams will decide to do. But we have, of course, seen squads go for very interesting decisions across the board. I mean, looking at Leviathan especially, right? Are they going to try and risk it? Are they going to bring their final Tempest out right now, maybe try and apply it to try and push on through, or do they have a little bit of something in mind? Speaking of which, though, they decided to go for a completely different setup, right? They have not gone for Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, take a look also at SSG, full golds. You see Nightmare, mostly full golds with what they were able to find on the map. This is great for them, so keep that in mind. Those 2 teams are going to have a nice little advantage moving into this. But yes, you're right. There is a team, Leviathan, holding on to their Tempest for round 6. They're the only team doing so, but already a ton of blood exchanging hands, and it's all on the back of Liquids, who can't catch a dang break. Coming across Employee Passage, they get shot by 2 different teams, and 2 players go down. Can they stay alive? Oh, no.
The heat is on, the pressure is there, and as we can see, it is going to be full go as everybody now looks to get themselves situated up into a center zone. Nightmare, though, having pretty easy access, right? Pretty much uncontested, not going to be too much pressure once they've gotten through that western gate. But we can't say the same here about Liquids, right? I mean, SSG, just an absolute menace on the back end of them here. So if Liquids want to try and get their hands on one of those mantle bricks, they're going to have to make some magic happen with potentially one player.
Yeah, Liquids is in a deep blender, and this is the right play from SSG. They have to strike and go for a play that is free points for them. And MW doing the same. So SSG maybe playing a bit slower while MW playing more aggressive. Do they know that SSG can play this sightline? Liquid's full gone after an extremely unfortunate circumstance. They go to loot. They may not know that SSG's right here. They may think that they did all the dirty work. And if SSG make a move here, they could do it. Rapids is still looting. Okay, they may know. But they're going for the loot anyways. I like it. That's how I play too.
A lot of caution coming through from the side here of MW now. And I mean, I think rightly so, right? They know what's at stake here for them. They are currently sat all the way with 11 points to their name. If they want to get out of that hot and pressure position on the overall rankings, they're going to have to step it up. They have to move up to at least where SSG currently find themselves. But it's going to be pressure coming through to the Vandal break as Nightmare Equal gets his hands on it. Back he goes. Tempest getting ready as they move up into the alley.
Yeah, really strong play there from Nightmare yet again. I'm really loving what I'm seeing from this team. They put up some covering fire. They prevent FX from making a play using that Tempest. Let's take a look at it. Actually, we're going to take a look back at how Employee Passage was so deadly. Two teams shooting at you. You're trying to jump over bullets, but two of you go down, which leads to the untimely demise of Liquids. But yeah, Leviathan trying to take a couple shots down in range, but all eyes have to be on Nightmare. They covered FX's push. And they get the brick, and they get it back to safety, and they start the decode. This is classic plays. Same decoding station, exact same play that Leviathan just made to get the brick. Let's see if it's going to be another free brick for the likes of Nightmare, or if some of these teams decide to contest.
I mean, things are looking pretty good here for the side of Nightmare, right? Especially considering the position that FX find themselves. They are turning their focus over on towards MW. And maybe SSG that could be coming towards that bridge pretty soon. But Leviathan, though, I mean, they are moving up pretty much uncontested. There's nobody that is going to be stopping that northern push, but there is quite a bit of caution and apprehensive plays coming through on that side, right? They don't want to risk it all unnecessarily. So, but here we go. Leviathan finding the angles. Ooh, absolute menace onto MW as Baldora gets taken down, and this opens up the position, right? Clearing out the ramp, and this is go as Leviathan is just fully sending it in here, trying to get as aggressive as they can.
Yeah, this is the right play from Leviathan. They've already gotten that knock. They know that they can win this gunfight 3v2. They feel extremely confident in their skills, and they do need to come play for this brick so they can, oh, nice knock across the bow with triple blaster. D-Wolf showing his utility coming into play. I know he likes smokes, but they don't have a Tempest. They got to get aggressive with an Assault Operator, and D-Wolf has enough util to make MW think twice about some of their pushes. That's Pildora's second death and will be full out no matter what. MW way back on their heels right now, and Socio finds the right angle as well, crosses through smoke, finds the angle from the left-hand side. MW down to 1 as Widows is going to try to clear everybody out of this area and continue to push their way towards the more important piece of the puzzle, which is the mana brick.
Well, let's see who's going to be able to get their hands on it. Quite a bit of pressure coming through between Leviathan and the side there of MW. Rapid still going to be trying to survive as best he can as time is slowly running out, right? Loud all the way up towards that far northern position. Not much that he can do at this point. But Leviathan, they've cleared out the ramp. Now they're going to be turning their focus back over towards that mantle brick in the far offside. But SSG, I like the sneaky approach coming through from them. As you can see, too easy kills all. And Sky's creeping up. But as we know, whoever controls the ramp is the team that has really good chances getting their hands on this mantle brick.
Interestingly enough, Marino finds a nice trophy for 2 mil, but the action is at hand. 50 seconds on the clock. DW strikes down, kills all. Playing Tempest. We'll get back up here in just a second and join his teammates. SSG going to make sure they don't get shot in the backside while protecting ramp by pre-firing. Killzall's back up. Got to heal back up, but only 30 seconds on the clock. Somebody else has got to go for this brick. Could it be LEVIATAN? Or are they just going to patiently wait in mid-map? Comfortable with their position on the leaderboard. Unlikely it's FX. They're okay if this brick goes. Unfortunately for everybody else, if this brick goes, Nightmare's going to take the first place position. Lucas going to smoke and run and likely put a body on the brick point. FX is coming in very late to the party, but they're actually killing LEVIATAN. MW is getting actually a couple from distance. Nightmare's going to get a free brick. SSG are here, but they can't get there in time. The brick goes to Nightmare. Nightmare will leapfrog this leaderboard and move to first place. There's no question about it. And all that's left is the remnants of this lobby. LEVIATAN get full wiped. Loud helping from a distance from MW, and FX can't get to the brick because they're getting shot in the back. What a weird circumstance to allow Nightmare to get a free brick, but the fights are still on. Marino getting really aggressive, kills all down, and it's trading a blow between 3 teams here, DK, but it looks like Sky's able to get another one. SSG maybe standing tall, feeling the pressure. Lucas gonna make them think twice and put them back onto the ground. It's too easy, last alive.
Absolute brutality coming through here from the side of both SSG and Nightmare, but Farmer Lucas just farming kills at this point. You can see him just going to town too easy now. Ooh, having an easy way back up to the top side here, but it is going to be FX moving up to find the final few hits. Unfortunately for them, they missed out on a big portion of this fight, right? And now it's all up to Teasy to see if he can maybe just defend that ramp and make a little bit of something happen for his team. Meanwhile, we do see the players there from MW also getting drawn into the action. Ooh, SSG is down and out they go. But MW, this is their chance to get more than 11 points, right? Look to get aggressive, maybe find a trade or two, and take down the side of FX.
Man, what a wild push. FX just needed to move a bit faster. They went to loot on the other side of the map. They were like a black chamber the whole time. They found a nice 2 mil trophy, but like, my goodness. They're full kitted. All 3 up. They could have pinched at the same time as SSG and prevented this brick going to a team that desperately needed to not have a brick. They're so far ahead of everybody. The only way to catch them is the double brick. Nightmare just robbed a ton of points away from some of these rosters, and unfortunately, Loud peaks for a hair too long. Tomiozo finds him. This will be the beginning of the end, if it already wasn't so, for MW. As Rapids is going to be last alive, just looking to at least trade one out and get one more point on the board. To think that we're about to have a full team of 3 alive with 9 minutes on the clock is ridiculous. So pre-fire does not connect. FX wipe the lobby. Marino on 6. This is a great total kill tally for FX, and winning the lobby means they're going to get out as well. So, I mean, DK, FX is going to clearly be in second place, but if they just move a bit faster, I think there's a chance they could have won on this map.
Yeah, I mean, speed is a big factor on this match, as we know as well. So, I mean, this could be a golden opportunity for them to just strengthen their overall position coming into this next round. I mean, that is going to be the match point for 3 teams here, right? Nightmare, FX, and LEVIATAN. So expect it to be absolute chaos moving into round number 6, but knowing the lobby, they might even look to extend it, I'm sorry to say, but up to round 7 as well.
Quick replay of this engagement. Here's FX. They come into the backside of LEVIATAN, who was probably going to make a play for the brick. Getting shot in the back. They can't do anything about it. And Loud helping out. They can't run. They can't hide. LEVIATAN gets wiped. So FX show up after the brick has already been taken by Nightmare. And they just wipe everybody else. Too easy. A bit frustrated about that one. Desperately hoping and praying somebody moved just a bit faster. FX hold their own. They then hold the line. And they take down the last remaining members of MW after the res. So great job from these guys. DK, we know what's about to happen. They're going to start this extraction here shortly. And they're just going to loot up for the next 7.5 minutes.
Yep, that's loads of time. We can expect that number to climb a considerable amount already. They are up to 10 million in profit, so a really good loot session. As I saw in the chat, get that goop vacuum up, right? Get as much loot as you can, extract as much value as you can from this round. And of course, most importantly, don't forget to pull the lever, right? Because it doesn't really, if you have all of that, but you can't get out of here. So we'll see very soon them focusing on that, making sure that they actually manage to bank all of the profits they have been able to secure in this round. But yeah, a phenomenal run, right? FX just golden position. They could now really play a serious game of catch up here onto Nightmare. But I mean, we said this before, right? Nightmare having a very strong position with regards to that overall score. And now Manuel Brick and Tor, it's going to be tough for the rest of the lobby to really contest them here.
Yeah, nobody's catching Nightmare unless you double brick. I've said it once and I'll say it again. You do see FX, though, I guess creeping up to them because they're able to clean up this entire lobby. You know, we talk about supply points, and it's kind of a fun conversation. We got plenty of time, so why not have a bit of a yapathon about the current rules? You know, we talked supply points, and the recent changes, I would say, right before the Delta Force Rise series, were well warranted. The supply points being every 2 million equaling a point is a big boon for moments like this. When you win a map and you can loot everybody's fully kitted bodies, especially with some golds on the board, 2 million makes this still palpable and still a position for some other teams to catch them. You know, if you're getting a point for every 1 million, for instance, I mean, these scores would be astronomical if you win the map and are able to get fully extracted and out. So I really like this change as FX kind of cleans up and it's going to do their classic inventory Tetris. Let's listen in, though, and see if they're talking about anything.
Nossa, pior que sobrou monte de loot aqui ainda.
Eu tenho pouco de espaço aqui. Mano, o cano das armas. Pega o cano das armas, os bagulho.
Sim, eu tô com 4 milha aqui, não tem mais espaço não. Vamos usar TAT aqui das armas.
Pô, LSZ eu não vi. Não vi o loot deles, hein. Cuidado virar highlight aí, velho.
Well, they're going to have a pretty decent loot session here. They're currently up to 14.4 million, right? That is 7 points coming their way. I'm not quite sure how much more they'll be able to cram in their pockets at this point. There's only so much space, but also only so much time left, as they do have about 3 minutes and 20 seconds or so left on the clock before we do see them exit this map. So a very comfortable play coming through from FX. But this is the second time today that we see FX being the final team left out in the on the lobby.
Yeah, and again, you know, as far as Nightmare was ahead, they're slowly but surely chipping away at that point lead because of what they're able to do. It's not just looting this rest of this lobby and getting out. They did find 8 kills. Like, we were hyping up Nightmare for their 11 bomb, and it was huge. But to find 8 on a map is still unbelievably impressive. We'll check the crevices, the corners, anything they can get their hands on. I'm sure they were looting just outside of where the mantle brick was over at Black Chamber, and we're looting something random and found that trophy for 2 mil, which is an extra point. So I'm sure they're thinking, let's double check everything before we leave. We've got the time. Why the heck not? I think, DK, while we've got a moment, I might as well. Let's talk some predictions here, my man. We just saw the wrap of map 5. And we're going to 6 assuredly. Half our team's with a brick, half without. Do you think one of these teams can close it out in 6, or do you think we're assuredly going to 7?
I mean, I'm going to go for the obvious answer here. And to me, the most obvious answer is going to be that the team currently sitting at the top of the board is going to be the team really looking to go for gold here. They are going to try and get that double brick going. So I would be surprised if that is not exactly what decides to do coming into round number 6, right? Because based on the pacing that they've already been able to show here, they mean business, right? They want to lock this one in, and they've already been able to do a very similar thing just last weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I think Nightmare is such a strong team that they're definitely going to go for it. There's no question about that. I just think that, I mean, if I'm looking at paper stats, the chances of SSG not having a brick at the end of this one is also very low. So I'm thinking we go to game 7. I think SSG are able to steal away a brick here in the 6th round and potentially take us to round 7. But who knows? We'll see. I think it could go either way, but we did see a quick look at the assets overall, And just on this map alone, with all of the loot that they got, which of course they will get out with, actually FX has crept up over Nightmare in total assets, total stash assets, as they leave this map. Nightmare just have more kills is the only reason they're still ahead.
Well, we are getting our potential final few salutes here from the side of FX as they are primed up and ready to go. 15.2 million, 7 points in the bag, just based on the amount of profits they were able to secure here. In addition to that, they have 8 kills. So that puts them on 15 points that they've been able to garner just in this round alone. Absolute insane pacing coming through from them. I mean, yeah, it could be Nightmare or FX taking the dub coming into the next round. I mean, I know you said that we could go all the way to 7, but if it's up to those two teams, we could be ending in 6.
I totally agree. It could be a 50-50 coin flip. I think it's a fun conversation. I'm thinking SSG will get it, but who knows? It could be either of those teams at the top, the third even, that potentially win it all in the next round. But FX, they clear up the lobby. They add some extra points, and they're very clearly now in second place. The top two, yes, have a mana break, but also a crazy amount of points now with a very well done FX cleanup. But Nightmare grabbing that brick in the first place was certainly worth dying for. So great job from both of these two teams at the top who have a brick to also have a ton of points. The only other team with a brick, unfortunately, a little ways down the leaderboard from the rest, is that LEVIATAN team. But of course, our Nightmare team is our best team because they got the brick here, TK.
Yes, sir. They got the brick. They have 2 points coming through from those kills as well. And at least there's a decent amount of damage to back that up. 701 damage is not going to be bad at the end of the day. But speaking about the overall value here, Fluxo absolutely on point. 8 kills, 15.2 million in assets that they were able to extract with. They had a glorious run. I mean, Marino, 6 kills as well. So we've been seeing some very heavy hitting plays here today.
Yeah, 100%. These are gigantic games for individual teams, really when they need it too. You know, the biggest question and quandary for FX was whether or not they could catch up to Nightmare, and they're certainly doing that. Marino picking up 6 kills, man. This is a huge game from a guy that is very well accomplished in the Delta Force scene. I told you this last time, and it's fun to talk about these guys in multiple different ways that they play Delta Force. Marino played on the Warfare side for DFIW, was a sub for our team over there on this FX roster, who also competed in the other game mode at Delta Force. So cool stuff from Marino to also pop off here in round number 5. We see a couple different players pop up in assists, but assets does go to Marino as well, and all of FX, who were able to get out with a crazy amount of cash after wiping the lobby, looting all the bodies, and of course extracting as well. That's the way the cookie crumbles when the brick gets thrown down immediately, and Marino will find his way to an MVP. He's got a lot of accolades, but I also will add, Marino's just a nice guy as well. So I like seeing nice guys win. So congrats to Marino there, DK. That was a fun map to watch.
Yep, I mean, super fun to watch. And of course, I mean, Marino completing the Thrifty mission all in one single run, right? Absolute insanity. But of course, if you want to share in the insanity, head over to the link that you can see on the screen. Go download yourself a little bit of that Delta Force. Play it for free. That's how awesome the game is. And of course, if you're feeling bold, we did see the Season 2 is opening up soon. So you could register your team as well. Or we could be shouting your name right here on the screen as well. But on that cue, Goj, I think it's time for us to hop into a quick break.
Let's do it.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and NT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweat! This... And LG's got it, though. They're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Helm's gonna be hopping off that.
Find and stop them. Mandel Bridge decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Down, and there it is.
Welcome back. Delta Force Rise Series Groups A and C have been a ton of fun to watch, and half our teams have a brick, half do not. And we're moving into Game 6, the last time our operators are limited. And we've got 2 teams well above the rest, but 3 teams with a brick. DK, I am pumped to see this leaderboard and see how truly far FX did jump up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting to take a look at that. As you can see, the teams, the players, they are all just getting ready to lock on in because they know what's up for grabs moving into this next match here. The next round could be the big decider. Everybody just locked on in. And yeah, it's all down to the points, right? As we know, everything boils down to one thing. Who's going to be the team sitting at the top? It is going to be Nightmare there with 40 points only. 8 points ahead of FX. So FX really managing to close up that gap considerably, right? That 15 mil that we saw them gathering up, and of course all the eliminations and kills that they were able to secure, really helping to kind of square things up here for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth mentioning. FX did pick up 8 kills in that map. They doubled up their kills, actually over doubled their kills in all the other rounds combined into this last round. So 15 total kills is huge for them. It does put them ahead of LEVIATAN by quite a bit now because they were also able to get out of the lobby. So they're doing great to maintain a second place position. Still got some work to do if they want to catch Nightmare though. So we'll see what happens in this next Space City round. Again, last time operators are limited. So we're going to only see a couple teams that have Tempest available, half of them to be exact. LEVIATAN is one, who already have a mana brick. Nightmare is the other, who already have a mana brick. And like I mentioned, watch out for Space Station Gaming. They went perfect through their first 3 matches. They got 4th in their last one, but they're still a top 2 team on our group stage leaderboard, and they've got a Tempest as well. If you don't think Space Station Gaming is a threat right now, you are making a mistake. Watch out for these guys with that Tempest to see if they can actually get the brick this time, as of course, we see this same comp has been used 42 times, but only 10% actually extract because DK, people like to stay on the map and fight, especially when a brick doesn't get into the decoding station immediately.
Yes, sir. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for some upsets, but as we saw looking at the operator choices, a few teams already, they've burnt up all the Tempests, and a few other still have Tempests yet to play. So it's pretty much half and half. So that does open up quite a few interesting positions for the squads moving into this next round. But speaking about rounds, though, it is going to be down to who gets that T1 spawn. I mean, Liquids, they might have a little bit of regret getting that T1 spawn in the previous round. As we saw, SSG just getting absolutely aggressive up towards them. But moving into this round, we could see the tables now turning, right? SSG could be one of the teams getting a T1 spawn here.
I'm going to be honest. I'm scared to get a T1 spawn. Westgate, employee passage 2. My goodness, people are dying every single time they try to move into the middle of the map. It's ridiculous. So watch out wherever you are on the map. You might die very quickly. That's the way Space City goes. All the players, all the teams know it. If you're on a T1 spawn, you better tread carefully. We'll see who gets it and see who gets to the mid-map first. Let's take a look at the golds, though. FX still have plenty of golds now after looting up the bodies of everybody else. LEVIATAN also the same. Equal plays at least coming in with 2/3 on the Nightmare roster in gold gear. Let's see what these teams are able to do with those small advantages as we move in and see our 3 teams that do have a Tempest left. Obviously using the Tempest Threat, trying to figure it out from there as SSG easily cross Employee passes 2, nice and free.
Yep, they do. But of course, looking at FX, they got their hands on that T1 spawn as well. But this is Liquid's opportunity now to contest the T1 spawn, as both teams are looking to get a little bit more aggressive. But I like what Marino and the rest of the squad here are doing. I mean, they're not even trying to push through that west gate, right? Instead, they've turned around and went straight up into dormitories, looking to rush the side here of Liquids. And that's kind of, I think, what Liquid sensed here, right? They just turned around, trying to get themselves out of that pressure position. Meanwhile, up in the center, that is where we are going to be focusing in on that Mandel Brick. The shot's starting to fly across the way. Mandel Brick is up for grabs. And this is now down to see who's going to get it, right? SSG, they are just waiting on the edge.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it as much as you, DK, but I do respect that you like the crazy strats, because FX pulls out some crazy strats. They play the game differently than everyone else, so I can respect that. I can like that. FX does not sprint to mid. They try to chow Dormitory. Dormitory backs away to go play Central Command. What an interesting rotation from the team that does have a brick and just technically one last map, aside from not getting their second mana brick on it. Leviathan in a very strong position, a position that they got a brick in last time. And SSG is on the opposite side, but the team that strikes first is actually up in Central Command. So got to pay attention to this engagement, as JDevice smartly says. Yes, there is a team up here.
Good comms coming through there, and sometimes that's all you need. But speaking about all you need, MW, they're going to need a little bit more. Yes, they have climbed from 11 up to 12, but they need more of that source, right? They need to try to at least get more than whatever Liquids has. And this is going to be so important for both the teams sat in those bottom positions, because they are both in dire need of points at this stage.
Yeah, nice play there from Skies. It's the exact same play that SSG made a moment ago in the last map. They were trying to play for this brick, or sorry, Nightmare played in the last map. They were trying to play for this brick. They were able to protect the Tempestal, get the one knock, know that they're open, grab the brick, and they go for the run. Problem, they're not on the Centrifuge side. This is the opposite side of the map. This is the eastern side, up outside of test range. They're going to try to swing around. And there's only a couple teams that go for the decoding station up in the sand. One of those teams is Spacestation Gaming. They've come up here and they've won matches up here. And it looks like they're going to head back to the sand outside of Central Command and Printing and throw it into one of the decoding stations that is used the least on this map. But I think it's the right play for SSG because of the intel that they know. They had this top kind of northeastern side of mid-map cleared out. They know they can't clear over to Leviathan, so instead they go up to the side of the map that they know, or at least think, to be clear. Only negative to this decoding station is frankly that there's two teams inside of Central Command who will immediately be able to respond if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, but this is not really surprising looking at SSG, right? The last time both you and I looked at them, when they had a Mandel Brick in their hands, this is exactly where they came. So this is very familiar territory for them. So curious to see what is going to be happening with these two teams up in Central Command. There's already quite a bit of an exchange going over onto the side of Liquids. It is now just up to JDevice to try and carry his team out of this one. But for MW, the pacing is pretty good here, pretty strong. They still have the numbers advantage, and they are going to look to leverage that as best they can. But JDevice absolutely on point with the sprays, coming through with the jumps. Oh, picks up the hit. Boldora goes down. JDevice now trying everything he can to just survive here.
A great isolation of his 1v1. They weren't expecting the ego chow on the opposite side, so I'll tip the hat to that one. He's going to have to do it again, though. They expect this wrap. Oh, if there wasn't a smoke up, a great play from MW to cover. They want to go for this res. They don't want to risk anything. That smoke goes down a hair too late or a hair earlier. JDevice actually catches another and makes it a 1v1. Could have 1v3'd World Starred MW. Now, I know this is fun to watch, but this is best case scenario for Spacestation Gaming. They're like, oh, there's two teams fighting in Central Command? Sounds good to us. We're getting the brick. JDevice gets another knock. Not going to risk the full commit to go for the kill here, though, because he knows he just needs to stay alive and continue to isolate these ones. Spacestation Gaming, relaxed, chilling. Good news for JDevice is FX is also in the area. They fight long enough, and they're going to get shot in the back. MW in trouble, actually backing away from Rapids because they feel the pressure and they hear the footsteps.
But you got to give it up to JDevice there. Man is absolutely cooking with those sprays.
He's
making sure that nobody is going to be pushing up on him. I mean, that's exactly the kind of defensive angles that you need to hold, right? I mean, turning the defense into an offense is sometimes a really good decision to make. But speaking about decisions, though, everybody is deciding to focus on other things other than the mantle brick, right? SSG, they've got just under 2 minutes left on the clock, and we're not really seeing anybody looking to get close to contest that.
Yeah, Leviathan could maybe come over employee passage. You can see Nightmare is doing a wide wrap actually through printing room, which I actually quite like this play. It's going to make SSG look multiple directions without anybody playing printing room. Skies is watching it currently, but without anybody watching printing room, SSG really only have to look 2 directions with 3 players. So that's a big win. Now 3 directions is bad news for them. I think Nightmare may catch Skies out, and this is going to make SSG... Oh, wow. Okay, it's not Skies. It's over the top on Too Easy. And I think Nightmare are going to sprint at this now that they know Easy's down. This will be a pickup. This will be a res, but it's going to allow a full move from Nightmare to get at least up to the wall and get extremely close to the brick. Leviathan here, the shots potentially. Silent, sure, but they've crossed employee passage without any problems either. It's going to be a big pinch between 2 teams that desperately want their second brick and prevent Spacestation Gaming from getting there first.
Ooh. I mean, Nightmare trying to rush up to that. We just saw Equal getting dropped down. Fortunately, he was on the Tempest ult, so there is still a bit of continuation for them. But Skies, though,
nice.
Insta down. Absolutely menacing hits connecting through onto him. And Leviathan definitely looking to leverage their position. As you can see, Socio moving up. Going for the steal here, looking to play the upset. SSG a little bit too slow in the response there. But as you said, the push coming through is going to force them to look in so many different directions.
Yeah, it was perfect timing for Leviathan to be able to cross employee passage at the same time that Nightmare was taking shots on this SSG team. Too Easy last alive and won't be able to really play for anything now. Leviathan has taken the brick, but they've backed a bit off from it, wanting a more powerful position and just really wanting to reset the timer and try to get some info. The only problem with Leviathan's position was that they didn't have all the info on the map. They saw likely Nightmare crossing, likely saw the shots actually come across the bow, but they don't know where FX is. They didn't know where MW was inside. FX just hit the zip. Did they even spot that? Leviathan going to creep up and actually play the decoding station, but in the meantime, at least SSG has been able to pick up one more as Killzall is back onto the map, which is big because that is their Tempest, but Easy under a bunch of pressure.
Yeah, and the pressure's not going to give up anytime soon. As you can see, Leviathan just trying to lock it down. Quick trade up onto Easy there. It's down to 1. Can Killzall survive this? Trying everything in his bag of tricks to survive the push. But unfortunately, there's only so many angles available to him. He is able to escape the immediate pressure. But will they be able to contest that when I want to that D-guard? As we can see, many teams, including Nightmare, starting with their very cheeky approach, sneaking on through. Nightmare already up to 40 total points. FX also trying their way as they look to approach the employee passage number 2, and it could be smooth sailing for them, at least initially.
Ooh, it's about to be utter chaos, though. Look at FX. They're crossing employee passage 2 right now. They're crossing the pipes. Nightmare's pinching in. Leviathan middle of the sandwich. MW has full resed inside of Central Command. They're here. Jada Vise is even here. The whole gang's here. Everybody's looking to have a dang good time. And they're trying to see if Leviathan will win this match right now. 80 seconds on the clock. Socio Legend going to heal back up. Let's take some errant shots from Nightmare most likely. Marino, MVP from the last round. Can he do it again? This time a bit sooner.
Well, the stakes are there. The pressure is high. It is going to be absolutely go, go, go. I like the fact that Nightmare is just kind of hanging on the side here. J-Device, though, not done just yet. First steps up, comes through with a few hits, but unfortunately is going to be put to bed. He cannot continue the fight. Now this opens up the angle for Nightmare and the rest of the lobby all to rush up to the north and all try and jump on this
Here we go. Celestial Legend on point. Equal Plays wins the gunfight, though, and gets the full. Utilizing Tempest ult, does not get the steal. Very importantly, Leviathan is still a duo, and Equal Plays and Nightmare do not have a Tempest ult to use in the next 26 seconds. A nice take, but they're immediately sticking the res because nobody's close enough. Yes, Marino is. He makes a nice play. Swings around and finds Eclipse. Leviathan down to a solo. 15 seconds. He's got to stay alive. That's the only thing. No! He goes down! It's utter chaos as Nightmare just full send death ball into the engagement as FX help clean up the last remaining members of Leviathan, and the timer has paused, and we're back to square one.
Yeah, we've seen this play a few times, getting all the way back to where it all started. And now it's going to be down to who is going to be the next team bold enough to rush up into this absolute hornet's nest of players just positioned all over the place. I mean, this is looking pretty good for MW, right? They've been just keeping themselves pretty removed from these engagements, inching their way closer and closer. As you can see them just up there on the minimap, holding inside the central command building. But if there's enough blows dealt outside, this could be that opening play for MW. Maybe to look to step up, swoop on through, and pick up a few cheeky trades. But whatever they do, they have to be quick, as Nightmare has started the process all over again. Kills all those, staying true to his name, stepping up and just ripping up some shreds.
Killzall goes down, does have ult, but will get cleaned up. A nice read and a nice pickup, unfortunately. Farmer Lucas was in the right place at the right time to find Killzall. They'll pick up their third, but Killzall's disturbances in the map's flow actually allows FX to push up and play around Brick. The only team that can beat them in a tiebreaker is Nightmare, so they're going to go for the Brick, grab it, and try to win today to be well outside of the conversation for relegation and not making Season 2. They win today, no questions asked. They're at least mid-pack. They're at least playing in what could be our Survivor stages next week. A nice over-the-top play from FX's Marino. Gets a little aggressive, though, and will get traded out. One down for FX, one down for Nightmare. But a full team of 3 MW just lying in wait, hoping and praying that they could be the only team that now could force us to Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, they do have the power to do exactly that. FX, though, bringing their numbers back up, losing one almost immediately. Nightmare going to look to make a little bit of magic happen here. I was talking about MW as they come pushing on forward. If they get their hands on this decode, this is going to be us taking that route all the way to round 7. Good sprays coming through here from DW, but unfortunately not enough to alleviate all that pressure. Here we go, though. Damioso jumping back, trying to recover the team. 3 players definitely going to bode much better than having only 2 up. And this is exactly the play now for NW to try and make.
Yeah, they've already stolen the Brick. This is great patience in these engagements between Nightmare and FX, but unfortunately, maybe too much patience because MW are now in the power position. FX caught in a blender of trying to revive each other, and now they're just hiding behind rocks to get farmed. MW come in. They're about to push us to Game 7 if they can take down a now healthy full team of 3 that is Nightmare. There's enough time on the clock for a 3v3 battle for the Brick. The winner on one side closes it out. Nightmare could go back-to-back in their wins on main stage last week to this week. MW desperately trying to force us to Game 7 as SSG and Liquids watch on and are now cheering on MW and Loud, who are in control of the Brick for now.
Ooh, beautiful spray, though, coming through here from Loud. Oh, instant response coming through as well. Nice bit of a back and forth trade coming through on either side, but MW could still maybe have this one in the back. So much riding on this for them. Beautiful jumps coming through, but are not going to be enough, though.
Oh, equal plays! Unbelievable flank. Equal plays, spoiler. Again and again and again. This man is MVP. Let's listen in.
Don't be face down in a box right now. Be listening, okay? Okay. I need to plate though, okay? 10 seconds. Yeah, just be listening while you're plating. 9 seconds on death. 7 seconds on death. 4 seconds on death. Listening. Death's up in 1. I'm stimming you as soon as I have it. I'm 1% on a stim, and I can give you 1 stim.
I might have just heard him. Sand, maybe?
Sand, so like towards command?
Like.
Wow. I love the comms from these guys, DK. They don't know that they are alone, and they're not taking any chances.
Yeah, I mean, absolute insanity, right? And that is exactly the kind of play. But let's take a look at that again, right? Equal just throwing the thing, jumping off the side and laying into rapid. Absolute cinema coming through here. I mean, Nightmare, you got to give it up to these guys. 50 points on the board. They have had a phenomenal day. And I mean, going in with a back-to-back Mandel break, absolutely insane play.
Unbelievable. Back-to-back, they get mana bricks. Back-to-back match wins. And you can tell why. These guys have locked in. I think at the beginning of the Delta Force Rise series, they were a little bit slow to start. They were playing for kills. They were playing aggressive. And they weren't playing for bricks as much. This time around, in the latter half, man, they are taking no chances. They're winning big gunfights. They're still getting their kills, but they're finding their way to the mana bricks as well. Unreal. 51 total scores showing. Now, they won't get out of the map. They'll lose some of that. But seeing a 50 in that category is one of the first times I've seen that. And also getting double bricks. Good grief. What a showing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this would have probably been one of the craziest days we've had so far if Nightmare was actually able to extract with the full squad up, right? Taking all that value out of here and taking a full 51 points to the leaderboard. Insane story for them, but I think it's really, really well deserved, especially looking at just how hard they've been working at it, right? Starting off the day all the way in 6th place. They've already had their hand on 5 Mandel bricks prior to today, so all in all, right, pushing it up to 7, that could really help elevate their position with regards to those standings.
Yeah, it's a great call out. The group stage standings are going to look a little different with Nightmare with another 10 points. My goodness. They've done it. They get that specialty extraction at the end of this one, so they actually do get out too. Or at least some of them do. Once you win, you get both bricks, and you know it's over. You've got our specialty tournament extraction mid-map, and they're able to get out of the map as well. So maybe we will see a historic score total with 2 bricks. Congratulations, Nightmare. You have won day 1 of the final week of our group stages. They had moved all the way up to 6th place overall in our group stage standings at only 18 points because, again, they started slow, but things are going well. It's a well-oiled machine with great comms, unbelievable slaying power, but the thing that keeps this team alive and pushes them across the finish line today and last week is some star power as well. You need a little bit of everything, and the star power that is equal plays in the fragging category changed these team fights. That man has got to be MVP. He had an unbelievable amount of kills, and I think SSG, for the first time, showing some frustration. They only pick up probably a couple more points. They may still barely find themselves in the top 2, but Nightmare go from a non-dangerous 18 points, DK, to 28 points. And that sounds a little dangerous to me, but of course, they're the best team with another 7-kill game.
Yeah, no surprise to see that be the case here. Absolutely amazing stuff. Pretty decent assets that they were able to extract with as well, but I like that damage number, right? 1331. Absolutely exciting stuff. And I mean, so much work being put in here from them. You've mentioned it already, right? Last week, they were just absolutely grinding at it when we saw them stepping onto the field. Of course, they also got that final Mandel break of the day back on Saturday to close up the proceedings. But 7 kills along with that Mandel break. Man, the points are going to be looking so juicy for them.
Big shout out to Equal Plays, top fragger in this last map at 4 total. Rapids, MW. I'll tip my hat to several players in this last map. People were playing for the brick this time around, DK, and MW did a pretty good job. They were in a 3v3 to win it and push us to game 7. So good job from MW. You see them on a couple of our leaderboards throughout the course of these stats. Marino from FX still putting up a crazy amount of damage as well. Equal Plays finding some assists along the way with Lucas and TW. And so I'm impressed with all of our teams. I'll tip my hat to Jay Devise, man. He was gaming in that last game as a solo, finding kill after kill and putting people on their heels. Almost took down MW, my goodness. But Equal Plays does find 2.5 million assets on the map. Getting out of the map, and you'll see the final points. And of course, round 6 MVP, likely match MVP as well. We'll see how the calculations lie. 4 total kill points in that last one for the team's total of 7. Great job from Nightmare and a great job from Equal Plays. DK, we've been talking about this guy for a while for good reason. A big day.
Yeah, I mean, it seems I've got 2 hats that I need to be tipping here, right? One, of course, going over to Equal, just equaling out the competition, just being an absolute menace in this last game. But as you said it already, right? J Device just so relentless, on point with the sprays. He's one to watch, right? Definitely bringing in quite a bit of excitement. But you know what I appreciate is the fact that the teams have now found quite a bit of balance, right? Quite a bit of comfort stepping out here. Yes, they are still focusing quite heavily on the aggression, like getting those kills, because we know points are important. But the Mandel bricks are getting picked up as well, and they are getting fought over, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to at this point. In this stage of the tournament, man, we're in the final week of group stages. Some of these teams were at the bottom of the leaderboard. MW in a dangerous position. Liquids in a dangerous position. They were fighting for the brick. Unfortunately, could not get one this time around, which is bad news. They're going to find themselves near the bottom of our leaderboard today, which means they hardly are going to get any more points to boot. It's going to be a tight race at the bottom, but it's also a tight race at the top. And it looks like Nightmare's going to be joining that top race. Let's bring in Farmer Lucas to talk to him about it. The group stage is looking a whole lot different with 2 back-to-back wins and a back-to-back interview with my man Farmer Lucas. Join us in the booth, my friend. I mean, come on. That's got to feel good, right?
After those match day 2 and match day 3, it feels great to be here at the top of the leaderboard back-to-back times. Very much so.
Big congrats, man. I want to follow up very quickly. I actually want to bring you back to that final moment. I really respected the comms that you all had. You were last alive. You didn't 100% know that. Talk to me about those comms. Lucas, you were talking to your team. You were talking through the last seconds of the revives, everything. Is this something you all have been putting into practice to make sure everything is airtight moving into the final stages of group stages?
Yeah, playing an extraction shooter like this, you know, you never know when one player might exist behind you. You never know when one player alive can ruin everything for you. So it's so important to us that we stay diligent and we stay locked in until that decode says it's been extracted. So we do what we can to make sure we're not ratted by that.
I love it.
Well, I like the kind of pacing and caution that you brought into this as well. But so, Lucas, first up, just absolutely phenomenal performance coming through from you guys here today. I love the insanity that you brought to the battlefield. But do you think there was one decision today that you made that made the biggest difference between your team and the rest of the squads in the lobby?
I think when it came to that first brick, because the way the lobby played out for us, we holding the space outside of centrifuge is the most important thing to do. And because SSG tries pushing up the ramp and they meet so much resistance and we weren't pressured so much from behind, that was the difference maker in getting our first brick. And once we had our first brick, the confidence was through the roof and we knew we could do it again if we had to.
Yeah, I actually love that call out. Talk to me a little bit about Space City, because this map is a map that everybody knows extremely well, but in the comp scene, it certainly plays very different from the other maps. Do you have a favorite spawn? Do you have positions you prefer? We know Centrifuge is the main place you want to be eventually, but for you guys, is there like a big win when you see something, you're like, hey, this is going to be our win con?
When we have our own defaults, when we're in a position that we were today, that tier 1 spawn was sort of our win con, right? Once Equal goes out with his Tempest ult and grabs that brick, and we know how to effectively hold that for 4 minutes. While it is a long time, we know what has to be done, who holds where, who listens where, and what space we can hold so we can make sure teams don't pressure us and force us inside the building. Because once we're stuck inside the building, the brick can go to anybody.
I love that.
Well, it sounds very appropriate here, and this brings me to what I think I want to ask as well, right? Is like after today, you are sitting in a very strong position overall, right? The performance, the points, everything just locked in. But do you think there's one more thing that you want to improve on before heading into your final day of play?
I think our fight spacing is the best thing that we can improve on. If we're in sync and we're moving on the same page, I think we are playing our best when our fights are in sync. And if we can get our fights in sync and show up on Sunday, I think we can win again.
I love it, man. Well, congrats again, Farmer Lucas. I want to give you the floor. Hype up your teammates, hype up the fans, talk to the haters. I don't care. You have certainly earned the floor, and congrats on another big win.
First off, I want to give a massive shout out to my teammates, Equal and Death. They played phenomenal today. I, by my own standards, would say I had a mediocre day. I made calls for the team and I put them in a position to win. So putting my teammates in a position to win as the IGL is a win for me, although I feel I could have played better. Shout out to the NTMR fan base and our org and everybody. And thank you guys so much for the support. And don't count us out come Sunday.
I love it. Don't count them out. That's Farmer Lucas. Nightmare, congrats, my friend. Go celebrate, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Thank you. See you Sunday.
Cheers. Logical, great interview. Come on. That was the cleanest interview we've seen in a while. Back to back as well. Big shout out to Farmer Lucas. Obviously, the IGL, you could see it in those answers, DK. That was sick.
Yeah, but I like it when the team is on point and they just play such a clean execution like we've seen come through from them today, right? Because the moment they touched ground in Space City, they were just like, you know what? This is ours. We are going to give it gas and we're going to give it everything we can. Yes, sure, the first Space City didn't go exactly according to plan. They were still able to get that extraction. They tried again coming into the second one, but I mean, just getting that consistent flow, right? Brick after brick, that is the winning condition.
I totally agree. Well, folks, as you know, this is Season 1, and we're feeling like we're finally getting to the finish line, which means Season 2 is right around the corner. Make sure you sign up for Season 2 of the Delta Force Rise series, folks. A very important date to remember is August 10th. Open qualifiers. That registration opens on August 10th. And as a quick reminder, of course, you could be on this screen competing, but if you're not and you're watching in chat, exclamation point giveaway in the chat. You can go enter into our giveaway for a ton of Delta tickets, folks. You can see it on your screen right now. Type in exclamation point giveaway. This is your best way to go earn these Delta tickets. You can do so by typing that into the chat here. But of course, if you're watching on X, make sure you just comment down below in the live stream, repost that live stream, and you'll see if you are a winner in the comments underneath. And all of these winners will be pulled on our official channels here at the end of the broadcast. So now's a great time. I know some of you have already been doing it, to type in exclamation point giveaway while we take a look at our leaderboard. Nightmare get the win. We knew that for certain. 2 bricks and tons of squad points, but FX sneak away with a second place, and Leviathan in third is the 3 teams with bricks, but MW find fourth. That means SSG only get 1 more point added to their tally going into their last match. Wow.
Yeah, but you know what that also means is, looking at the board here, we do see MW. They've been able to secure themselves a few additional points, right? They were in that danger zone alongside the players coming through from Liquid. So they know what is up for grabs for them for the rest of the weekend, or kind of what they need to do for the remainder of this weekend. They need to double down and they need to go for everything, because that's the only way that you can get into the top 10 positions, right? You got to do what this man did. Go absolutely crazy and run away with it. The KD leader, the top killer, the top damage dealer, and so much more. Of course, taking that match MVP position, 18 kills, 3,607 damage, getting with the 5 assists and a glorious 20 mil in assets.
Yeah, I mean, there was no question in my mind Equal Players was going to be our match MVP. That is a ridiculous stat line. You heard Farmers Lucas hype up his teammates. He said they played phenomenal, and I can certainly concur. That is a ton of points, and as a reminder, that's also $900 to Equal Players from today alone. Crazy stuff, folks. And yes, we were nearing the end of the group stages, but we're not done yet. We just finished up. Nightmare just got their win. We are moving into B and C tomorrow. Same place, same same time. And then we will finish with A&D back on stage for the final match of the group stages here with Americas. Let's take a look at our player rankings, though. Loco still holds the top spot from Evil Geniuses at 51, double digits more than Leviatan's Socio Legend, who has moved up to the second. But with equal plays, massive resurgence here of kills, does pick up 40 total throughout the course of this one. And that really goes to show how dominant today he was. 18 of that 40 was this match alone, nearly doubling up his total from before to find his way into a top 3 position.
Yeah, and of course, looking at the damage numbers here, it is also closing up quite a bit. You can see Killzone also now adding a few additional points on that, sitting on 10,000 or just over 10,000 at the start of the day. Now quite comfortable up in that second place, right behind Loco. So that just shows you, right? It's all going to boil down to the final 2 days, right? There's so much more reason for the viewers not to miss out on anything, because we are going to be seeing shifts, changes, and a whole lot of aggression, and of course bags and bags full of loot coming through as well. I mean, Killzone still holding steady there with 45 million in top assets, so absolutely insane run. But equal, Loco also just knocking on the door, trying to keep that pressure up.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree. This is really impressive stuff here from Killzone at over 45 million, but equal plays has slowly crept up. Picked up 20 mil today, so again, over doubled total from before, just having 20 mil in this match alone. Loco still their top 3. Articuno, teammates of Loco, in 4th as well. FX, a big day as well. Let's take a look at our overall standings, though. This is the most important piece of the puzzle. 35 still for Evil Geniuses, now tied in total matches play with SSG. Evil Geniuses are still on top with a ton more kill points, by the way. SSG now in second still, yes, at 33, but Nightmare went all the way from 8 to 18 to 28. What a huge jump up the leaderboard with their last 2 wins, double brick wins to be very, to be in fact, right? That's 20 points in these last 2 matches. That puts them to 28. That puts them to 3rd. Leviatan tied with them at 28 as well after their heroics today. Team Liquid find themselves into top 5. But FX, you got to remember where they were from before, right? FX was down there just above in 9th place, just above MW. They've jumped up to 7th, and they're only 2 points behind WKF and only 3 behind Team Liquid. This is a huge jump for FX, who were struggling at the beginning of the Delta Force Rise series.
Yeah, I mean, this shows you if teams lock in, they can get quite a bit done. And I also just got to commend the efforts that we saw today from MW, right? All the way out from that danger zone into 10th place. They're not out of the woods just yet. They are just on the edge of the woods, right? So it means for the remainder of this weekend, MW, Liquids, and as well as BTH are going to be having to grind as hard as they've ever grinded and then some to ensure that one of those 3 teams can get into the 10th place slot, right? Because it is going to be a fight between them. I don't see anybody at the lower end of that leaderboard catching up with Team Nadeshot, for instance, right? 18 to 6, that is going to be quite a bit of a gap to try and close on up. Who knows? They might surprise us and play a phenomenal last day of game here, but it's all going to boil down to what they decide to bring on forward, right? How determined are they going to be to make it into that survival stage?
And to be very clear, folks, you can see it on your screen now. We've only got 2 more days of the group stages, and every single team has 1 more match. Their last chance to make it to our final week 5. If you're a bottom 2 team, you don't get to go to week 5. If you're a top 2 team, you get to skip the 7th and the 8th. You go straight to the finals on the 9th, folks. This is a big deal, and all of these places are still up for grabs, like DK was talking about. So we'll see B and C tomorrow, same place, same time. We'll then see A and D for the final day on Sunday at the same place, same time as well. And we all know, of course, EMEA happened earlier today, and they'll be doing a lot of the same as well. So much on the line, but only 1 more match to go. Whew, I am excited for the next 2 days, folks. You see it down below. Make sure you drop a follow on all major socials here with Delta Force, their esports channel, and go check out the official esports website. You can head over to the official website at playdeltaforce.com, swing over to the tab that says esports, and of course, you can also go down to the bottom of the panels at the official Twitch channel. What a fun day. Thanks for sticking with us, folks. With only 1 more match to go, DK, I mean, you had to have fun with Nightmare putting up numbers like that, right?
Yes. I mean, the only answer, the only acceptable answer is yes. Like, Nightmare, they brought it in. We love it. But that means tomorrow and the day after, these teams are going to get cooked. And who will be cooked, we don't know, right? We'll have to see. Like, they are going to be the big deciders on that. So if you've not yet followed us on socials, do it, right? Because as you can see, things are heating up quite a bit. And it's all the way down to the very last match.
One more match to go for each of these teams. DK, it was a pleasure casting with you today. I will see you tomorrow. And for everybody in chat, as a quick reminder, we couldn't do it without you, the viewer. Thanks for tuning in. Same place, same time tomorrow. And go check out EMEA as well. Delta Force Rise series is a banger.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and NT getting a little solo. Hang on a second, NL. Look at that, it's an absolute sweat. This, and LG's gotta know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts. For the last remaining 3 BOV